Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back to Blood and Fog, a Blades in the Dark story, Chapter 5. It's the
Chapter 5
penultimate
already?
episode. We're here over on the RP Geeks. Hi, I'm Emily. I'm one of the RP Geeks. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm playing the doll, who is perfectly normal and not at all creepy. Shamini.
Hi, I'm Shamini. I also use she, her pronouns. I'm an RP geek too. I'm playing Ware. Ware is creeped out by many, many things, especially the doll.
Yay. Holly.
Hello, I'm Holly. I'm not an RP geek, but I've been having a great time over here.
Oh, yeah.
And I use she, they pronouns, and I am playing Cuff, who's definitely not a cop.
Not a cop. And Lou.
You've got to tell us if you're a cop.
You have to. It's the rules. You have to tell us if you're a cop.
Oh, is it? Oh,
I'm gonna say that.
Hi, I'm Lou. I use they, she pronouns. I'm also not a cop, but I am a doctor. Does anybody call? Also not an RP geek, but also having a lovely time.
Yeah.
Also freaks Ware out.
And
Also freaks Ware out.
finally, our Fate Weaver, Fiona.
Well, hello. My name is Fiona. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the one that's creeping everyone out with my various little bits and scenes. I'm also just being me, to be honest with you. But yeah, glad to come back for another session of Blood and Fog. So yeah, delighted to be back.
Yes, thank you if you're watching with us live over on YouTube. Hello, nice to see you. Are you having a good time? If you're not watching us live, did you know you can watch us live here on YouTube at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays?
Real.
We're here. We're talking right now. That's why you can hear how low my voice is, because I've got a coldish, kind of, but it sounds quite good, I think. And with this microphone, I think it sounds really good. And then I can be like, hello.
ASMR.
Anyway, so the doll's voice is going to be lower today, and I hope you're all excited for it. But there is, I don't think we have any to-do list before we get going, so let's just hop right into it. Fiona, over to you.
I will. Thank you very much. Well, greetings, scoundrels from across the Imperium and beyond the Void Sea, and welcome to this, our fifth and penultimate session of Blood and Fog, the RP Geeks Blades in the Dark series. As always, just two things for those following along at home. Firstly, the big one is that whilst we are playing Blades in the Dark, we're going to be using the Deep Cut supplement for a number of our dice mechanics in the game. I'll explain these mechanics as we get to them, but I just wanted to mention them here in case you're like, actually, that's not how we play Blades in the Dark. Spoilers, we are actually playing Blades in the Dark. This system is a way to make it a bit more streamlined for the action, which is perfect for us who are learning the game as we are now, and for you at home who are watching along. So do bear with us if we need to take a moment to clarify the rules or check them. We're still learning as we go. Secondly, Blades in the Dark by John Harper is a game of about a group of daring scoundrels that are building a criminal enterprise on the haunted streets of an industrial fantasy city known as Duskvol. There's going to be heists, chase, escapes, dangerous bargains, bloody skirmishes, deceptions, betrayals, victories, and deaths. We are playing to find out if this, our fledgling crew of the Harriers, can thrive amidst a teeming number of threats of rival gangs, powerful noble families, vengeful ghosts, the Bluecoats of the City Watch, and the siren song of their own vices. So naturally, such a world is very grim and very cruel, and it is a place set in perpetual darkness, which may feel very similar to the one that we are currently in ourselves. Imagine it as a Victorian city which is haunted and it's trapped inside a wall of lightning which is powered by demon blood. So same, I'm giving you out there, the lurks and the leeches and the lurchers out there, permission to take a break from our stories should you need to. As I always say, you are more important than the rolls on the table or the devil's bargains we offer to each other. So, members of the Harriers, are we ready to get back to our game?
Hell yeah.
All right. Let's start as always with our opening ritual to start the session, our opening titles. I know I always say it, but just in case you're here for the first time, we're going to start by imagining our opening titles to our story, a bit like a vintage TV show, where it's going to be a montage sequence of our various characters, places, and moments that are important to us and our story. We're going to go with each player, starting with Emily, then Lou, then Shamini, then Holly, taking turns to describe a brief scene, almost like a single camera shot, where we'd see their scoundrel in a quintessential moment, something that they'll be typically seen doing. I, as a GM, will go before and after each player has gone and describe a moment of the wider world, sort of that contrast between them. And yeah, we'll just start off, as always, with me going first, and then on to Emily. We see the fog start to fill up the entire stream, as always, and then suddenly we lurch out of it into what can only be described as a horrorscape. We have blowing ash and stinking fog swirling like eddies around petrified trees under the cracked, darkened sky, as we realise we are not in Duskvol itself, but rather on the outside, the Deathlands itself. Across this landscape there are death storms of ghosts tumbling and roiling, their screams filling the air like a howling gale. The camera follows one such murmuration as it swoops and dives, heading directly for the lightning barriers on the outside. It attempts to get through one of Duskvol's districts. It crashes up against the barrier like a wave hitting a sea defence, and the murmuration bursts, throwing ghosts and spirits high into the sky, their cries echoing as the lightning burns their essence away. Emily, please.
As that lightning sort of fades away, the camera zooms into it, and then as it pulls out, you see the same lightning sort of fading away from the eyes of the doll, who is standing in her room in front of a mirror. And as the camera sort of pans down, she's taking off her gloves and sort of opening up her shirt to look at the scar from the tattoo needle. And as the camera sort of pans round, it goes over her shoulder, and in the mirror, you see her reflection, which looks, at this stage, almost entirely human. There are no cracks on the skin, but there is still just one dark line across their chest.
As the camera constantly sort of swishes around, one of those like almost like 3D kind of, not 3D, 360 cameras, it sort of swishes and turns, and then suddenly it swishes around another individual. It looks to be like a worker with a long sort of like workers sort of like, not blouse, shirt, getting ready for the day, putting it over themselves, putting up their sort of different braces and getting out. As we hear the shrill whistle of the shift bell, we see workers coming out of sort of terraced houses in various capacities, going towards a cotton mill in the factory of Char Hollow. We see suddenly inside, we see these different machines, these spinning jennies going back and forth creating the cotton, the noise being incredibly loud as people are dashing between these machines trying to pick up the loose bits of spindles and whatnot as they have fallen, trying not to get caught in the machine itself. Lou, please.
We go up the steps of the familiar site now of the library and down into the basement where the doctor's laboratory is. We see over Arison's shoulder them using a cloth to scrub down the bed that is in the middle of the room, wiping away the blood. There is a tray off to the side that is holding a part of a bullet and a piece of broken off needle. And as the last bit of the bed is wiped clean, they go over and just start washing their hands and washing and scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing, and it keeps going as the camera comes away.
They're scrubbing and scrubbing, and suddenly we're back outside. This time we're on the very far edge of the docks itself. We see the North Hook Lighthouse, this sort of ancient shell of a building that has been upgraded now to project almost an electric plasmic beacon for these Leviathan hunter ships that are returning to dock. It's the way it goes around, cutting through the darkness of the night. We see one ship coming into view, successful after a long time over hunting season, because on top of it, not only is the ship huge, titanic almost, we see it has got in its jaws at the top a whale itself, one of these eldritch beings, as it's been brought into, because to make the most use of it, we have to bring them into the ports themselves and to do the cutting business there. Heading over to Shamini, please.
A light from the lighthouse flashes across the camera, and a light flashes across Ware's face. It's a bustling interior, dancers on a stage, lights, people serving food, Ware doing what seems to be, you can't hear it, a recreation of getting very heroically shot in the shoulder, while being plied with drink, while popping little delicious delicacies into his mouth. But just a little bit jumpy, a little glance here and there, as if he's wondering if he's seen someone he recognises, and then back to his tale.
we see sort of a whole group, a gaggle of women sort of laughing and sort of like looking at ease, and the camera sort of moves past them into Unity Park itself in Brightstone. These beautiful manicured gardens where young ladies and young gentlemen would frequently go and promenade together. In the centre of it, we see this huge monument, which looks like individuals, mixtures of sort of bright sparks and those who are part of the Imperium army, sort of banding together like to celebrate the victory in the Unity War. A war, I will admit, is still ongoing at this point. It has been many years, but it's sort of celebrating the immortal emperor's forthright agenda to keep moving strong and unite the whole Imperium together. Holly, please.
Another crowd moves across the camera in the park, and as the camera spins around to follow them, we realise it's a group of spirit wardens actually making their way down an alley. And just behind them, you can see wearing a white vest and dusty black trousers with this black smeared across their eyes. You see Cuff peering around the corner, making notes and making notes and making notes, and watching them get to the door where they knock, and a black coat opens. And scribbling notes.
Scribbling notes, and as we suddenly someone tears over the page, and suddenly we see a whole range of reporters, these ink rates, who are running about, chattering, trying to get their notes off and trying to sort of get it dictated to them by various people on typewriters and whatnot. A new invention, these typewriters, I would say. But also going to the printing press itself, we have suddenly a whole chug as the printing press starts to print out these sort of newspapers. A whole mix of sort of almost spinning headlines start to come up. Tales regarding the immortal emperor's new decree of the Unity era. We have printings of new calendars and maps to be issued to all citizens across the Imperium to celebrate the Unity. Other gazettes have also been printed as well. Stories of people going missing, and what's this? An article or two about doors appearing, but such moves is sort of moved along and put down to a third or fourth page. And as these sort of titles keep spinning, we have again, we go up through different factories, all the top above the smog, above the fog itself, until we see the whole of Duskvol. This time, not only the skyscape itself, but those are beyond, the Deathlands itself. And the main titles fall into view again, the red and grey font over this picture, and it reads: Blood and Fog, A Blaze in the Dark Story. Chapter 5, A Stranger Calls.
Dislike. Unsubscribe.
No scuttling, Fiona. Oh! No more scuttling, please.
I've been thinking about it all week.
It is 3 minutes to the hour of smoke on the 33rd day of Vol Nivet, and another early morning sightless hour is about to end. Once again, our streets of a haunted city have been coated in a thick pea-green soup, a fog, a gloom, which touches everything and everyone. As always, many residents choose to wait out this hour indoors, in the safety and the comfort of their homes. They get ready for the day ahead, bundling themselves into heavy coats and scarves and gloves and hats, checking their pocket watches and drinking cups of Immortal Emperor Grey. A moment of peace, a moment of reflection, time to ponder the events which came right up until this point. Let's ponder what happened last time, shall we, when we met our scoundrels? So our Harriers had been tasked to look into the murder of one Roderick Crow, the former leader of the Crow's gang. Their client, Roderick's ghost, strongly suspected that it was one of his two seconds in command, Lissa and Belle, and wanted our crew of scoundrels to confirm that this was the case, and to enact justice, revenge, how they saw fit, so that Roderick could finally rest. Now, after a couple of false starts, our Harriers regrouped back at their hideout to discuss their next moves based on what little evidence they had managed to gain. During his infiltration to the Crow's headquarters, Ware had made an unusual discovery. While snooping around in the wine cellar, he found Lydra, their previously missing deal broker contact, who was found sprawled and shivering in front of a slightly ajar but freestanding door. Having brought her back to the hideout, it was clear that Lydra had gone through something incredibly traumatic, being unable to speak coherently and her eyes full like black orbs of darkness with no irises. Roderick, who up until this point had been possessing Ware, saw an opportunity and possessed Lydra for a time, managing to convey that Lydra was, in fact, incredibly weak, scared, but no harm would come to her. Unfortunately, Cuff did not care for her friend being taken advantage of in such a cruel, puppet-like way, and in a flash of anger, punched Lydra's body in an attempt to get to Roderick, breaking Lydra's jaw. The team briefly discussed their options, knowing that the longer Roderick was in control of Lydra's body, the more likely the attention of the Spirit Wardens would be drawn to the Harriers themselves. From their earlier activities, the Harriers had gleaned the fact that Belle and Lissa did not currently see eye to eye due to some unknown agreement. They also learned that Lissa was specifically looking for Roderick's body, as it seemed to be missing still. But how to exploit such knowledge and use it to the Harriers' advantage? The plan was decided that separate letters would be written and sent to both Lissa and Belle, without the other knowing, telling them to come to a meeting point to retrieve Roderick's body, or else. The location was set as being an abandoned train carriage at the back end of Gaddock Train Railway. The Harriers would then hide in the hopes of hearing a confession from either one or both of the suspects upon them accidentally meeting each other like some sort of terrible meet cute, and then, and I have it written down here, style it out as best as they can. Now, what followed was frankly an Oscar-worthy performance by yours truly of two NPCs discussing their motives for killing their former leader, which culminated in a shocking and definitely planned ahead of time reveal that Lissa and Belle were siblings, and that Roderick had been their father. Before a deadly shootout could happen between Lissa and Belle, the Harriers intercepted and helped manifest Roderick in his ghost form as part of the confrontation. Roderick, however, had other ideas and, filled with rage, tried to kill Lissa then and there. The doll, thinking on her feet, managed to trap Roderick with her candle ritual, whilst the Doctor and Cuff managed to force a confession out of Lissa. It was decided to tie up and leave the siblings to their father's wrath, but not before the Doctor's pride got the better of them, and they subtly poisoned Lissa without the other Harriers' knowledge. Lissa accepted her fate, but managed to put her final words to some mysterious use. Give my regards to the stranger. Later that evening, a stranger did come a-knocking at the hideout. A stranger which seemed to be wearing the body of one Roderick, and kept asking, no nay insisting to be let inside. After being refused, the stranger warned that they would come back with a better disguise, and then bent over backwards to scuttle away into the night. In the days and weeks that followed this incident at the train yard, our Harriers have, for the most part, continued to do well in their business. Thanks to Ware's good fortune roll, whilst they were serving time at Iron Hut Prison, the Harriers have received a prison claim and a +1 status faction with your time in the prison, thanks to that roll. I know that was a couple of sessions ago, but I did remember it. And no joke, because Ware behaved so well and didn't try to escape,
Oh, thank you.
I'm giving the Harriers a +1 status with the Bluecoats.
What? Do we want that? Is
That
that good?
feels like a bad thing, but okay.
Oh, I think we should stay away from them. Don't think
We
there's
could
any
just
reason
go
for us
chat
to
to
go.
them. That seems
Oh,
normal.
I'll stay home while you do that.
Your prison claim, I've decided, is smuggling. Now, the details of this claim, they're not going to really impact the rest of our story, but know this, because of your time in prison, Ware, you have managed to increase your client base. As a result, you have a smuggling channel within Iron Hook Prison itself. So that might come into play later on, but you have clients within the prison itself. Now, the Lampblacks and the Red Sashes, on hearing rumours of Roderick's disappearance, that it could have been an inside job, have put aside their differences for now, and a truce between them is being currently negotiated. And unknowingly, they have you to thank for it. So now you have a +2 status with the Lampblacks and a +0 status with the Red Sashes from previous ones as well. So that's good.
Honestly,
paid-
I'm chuffed with that. I'm well excited about that. I think that's great.
Yep.
You paid your tithe to the wraiths on time. A good, healthy relationship between ward boss and wardee. 0 status with the wraiths.
We're such well-behaved criminals.
Yeah, I don't like it.
We've started off
Don't
being like,
like-
no, we're not going
yeah,
to pay
I
them. We're going to
know.
piss these people off. And then slowly we've been like, okay, but we could make them like us, and it will be
Yeah.
okay.
We could just do what we're told.
If we behaved, it would be okay.
The crows, on the other hand, are now in complete disarray, broken by their disappearance of both Lissa and Belle. And whilst no proof can be currently tied back to the Harriers, individuals did speak of seeing the Doctor meeting Lissa in the sidearm on the night of her disappearance. And so there is a tiny
Doctor
bit
leaving.
of suspicion. The tiny bit of suspicion still there. You still get a -1 with the crows, which could have been a lot worse, let's face it, on that front. The Spirit Wardens have not let up, though. Roderick's possessing presence and the incident at Gaddock Station has had them on high alert. So currently, you're at a -2 with the Spirit Wardens. Now, looking to business matters, the Harriers have done some time to hone their pitching abilities somewhat. Each member has, at some point or another, done some additional homework when it comes to selling your product as Spark to potential clients, both alive, imprisoned, and undead. That is to say, I have taken the opportunity to spend your crew XP, because you gained 12 XP in total so far, on gaining the new ability of Silver Tongues, aka each of you may add +1 action rating to either command, consort, or sway, up to a maximum of 3. I thought it was time that we should give you guys a little something for doing so well.
Okay. So do we do
So
that
make
now?
sure you can if you'd like. Yeah, absolutely. I'd do it now before the end of the session.
Consort
Sure.
or sway.
Yeah, have a think.
Might as well finish
Individually.
the paper.
Individually, everyone gets a +1 action rating. Yeah. Up to a maximum of 3.
I'll make one of
But
them
just-
3. That seems like a good plan.
But I will finish off the monologue, and then you guys can talk about that, because it is now 3 minutes to the hour of smoke on the 33rd day of Vulnivet, and suddenly the sound of thrumming fills the air. Heavy vibrations shake the buildings, makes paintings and phonographs and frames tumble from their perches and break on the ground. A high scream of a signal goes throughout the streets. As the folks recedes back into the hollows and the crevices, the people of Duskvol rush out to see the source of such a noise, staring up into the sky and pointing. Coming into view overhead, slow and proud, is the Covenant, a gigantic metal-hulled Imperial airship, a brand new vessel of war built by the order of the Immortal Emperor. It slowly comes to a stop and hovers over the refueling and maintenance dock, which has been constructed in Whitestone over the Lord Governor's stronghold. Equipped with sweeping, searching red lights and dozens of coil guns and a Leviathan-class electric projector and barrier to deal with any horrors during flights, this machine will bring the Immortal Emperor's agenda to every far-flung corner of the Shattered Isles itself. So this incredible ship is just hovering in the sky. It's very hard to miss it. Let's go to our Harriers. And specifically, I'd like to start off with where, if that's okay. Because I know we have a downtime activity for you to finish. And at the time, you talked about maybe wanting to train a little bit. But we had a little chat off stream, and you wanted to do something different. Is that right?
Yeah, if I could just do a brief scene, I think, like one night, it's quite late, is where sort of staggering back home to the library, carrying a really big cardboard box and making like a little bit of a meal, and like and trying not to squish the box, and it's a little unsteady, trying not to drop the box. Coming in, thinking everyone else might be asleep. He was sort of muttering to himself, like, "I don't need anyone, because if they don't want to come, oh guys, I can do it by myself. I'll just all for me, all for oh God!" Like knocks a flamingo over, clattering onto the floor of the middle of the library. I think I'll just sit down. I'm just gonna sit down.
You gonna sit down?
Yeah,
All
but I've made a bit of a clatterer.
You made a little clatterer. All right. I think the doctor. I think you'd still be up and about, and you would have probably heard. And I'd say this point maybe is a couple of days or so after the incident at the door that Ware was not a part of. So maybe you're a bit more on high alert as a result. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the doctor's going to appear kind of. I think I've myself imagined it sort of has a staircase that then kind of goes off to both sides, and then there's like a balcony around the sort of so you can see up into the first floor from the ground. And I think the doctor kind of appears in a pair of silk pajamas on the top of the railing and looks down at Ware and is like, "Had a good night."
Where sort of like jumps slightly, like looks up and like he's got like pink and white just like smeared all around his mouth, and you can see like this giant cake in this box, like you're looking like directly down into it. Hi Doc, you want some cake?
How very lucky that you have 2 working limbs to carry such an enormous item of confectionery.
It's because you did such a good job with your excellent doctor skills of putting the right bit of me in the right place, which I really appreciate. Have I mentioned how I appreciated that?
Not enough.
Oh, really?
And they're just going to kind of come down the stage, like never the stair, kind of like not breaking eye contact with you, and just to say, and they're just going to come right up to you and sort of stand over you while you're sat down with your enormous cake. Just like, I did not come here to put a plaster on and fix everybody's boo-boos when they get torn up in a fight. I came to the city to do my research for my own purposes, and last week I had to stitch people together, not because of anything that did us any good, but because of idiocy. I feel like you probably owe me one. Another one.
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm still paying off the first one, but yeah, another one. You know what? The more the merrier. Go for it.
As I had to spend all of my recent spare time fixing up injuries from various members of this crew, I have not had the time to look into my own musings, I suppose, onto Spark. So I'm going to
horrible
need
musings, or
the manner of musings is of no concern of yours, but I'd like you to do a little field research.
all right. What does that involve exactly?
There are various places in the city, many of which you frequent because they have some of your favourite eating establishments, so it'll be
Right.
no trouble at all for you. I'd like you to go and make some observations for me.
While
Have a look at
Ooh.
if necessary. I don't care what you do while you are there. I would, however, like you to have a look at the people who are taking Spark. How long does it take them to go into effect? Are they doing it in groups? How many doses are they taking? Are you making notes?
Yes, Doc. Like you told me, Doc.
I forget you can only hold a certain amount of information in your incredibly small brain.
Like you
Show
also
me
told
what
me.
you... Show me and tell me what is going on, and I will excuse your misdemeanors.
And I will appreciate that greatly, and I will bring you back some snacks. Now, did you mean now?
Yes.
Yeah, you meant now. Yeah, right. Just looks down at the cake. It's like most of the cake still left. Just looks like slightly sad.
Take it in a doggy bag.
Right, yeah, right. Okay. Picks up the box now, like uneven, like lid back on. Scarpers back towards the front door.
The doc's going to go up the stairs and just kind of turn, look not quite at you, but just sort of vaguely over the shoulder and say, "And be quieter when you come back in."
Sorry, Doc. Gone.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you are going to go and sort of like sneak out and go to these certain establishments that you would know where to sort of gather some more intel on people taking the illicit drug of spark. Okay. I would say this will fill up one segment of the clock. So currently that clock for the doctor is 7 out of 8. I think this is what you get where. What establishments are you going to? I'd like a little bit of detail from you. I know it will be food related, but is it just you left there briefly? Are you there for a long time? Like what
I don't think it's my usual kind of places, because I usually frequent quite upmarket places. I think generally in the last few weeks I've been going to less posh places, and being a bit more nervous when I'm anywhere that rich folks might be. But also, if rich folks are going to take spark, they'll be doing it behind closed doors. So yeah, like slightly grimier places.
Dirty kebab houses.
I love a kebab. Yes, I will happily visit very many very busy kebab places. Buy snacks, wander around, looking just like slightly merry, like I'm having a good time. And occasionally, like, subtly try and write down, like, do doses, do groups, effects, write something down.
I just have this image of you just going like, "Hello, fellow children," to like people like drug S type things.
Hello, fellow drug children.
Yeah. Do you have any drugs? Yes. No, I think the kebab houses is what I'm thinking as well. Like the chippy houses, that sort of thing. I'm definitely thinking I always think of I can't even remember what it was called now, but there was definitely one when I was in London, which was like chicken, but it was like fried, and then something else, like the KFC, a version of it.
Oh yes,
all the different sort of
knockoff KFC,
knockoff KFCs essentially.
Intellectually distinct KFC.
Yes. There's none of these in Duskvol, but there are similar things of that sort of ilk. So you go in and instantly you feel grimy in a sense, but it's if you were a regular here, you'd have the people would know your name, all that sort of thing. So you get a little, you don't spend too long. You more sort of like go from bit to bit a little bit, and you get your chips, whatever, and maybe you eat a couple and you're like, oh, it's not what you're used to, but you like your food. And what I'd say you get is that a lot of folks who are taking spark, there's a whole lot of drugs going on as if I know, but like spark is up and coming, and because the effects from what you've seen yourself and also from your time in prison, like talking to the clients and stuff like that, that it doesn't take that much for spark to keep going. Often it is sold in like tiny little bottles, essentially this sort of grayish sort of silvery liquid that sort of, when it moves, it sort of creates a little storm within it as well. You also know, and it is sort of repeated, the fact is that tiny doses, maybe 1 or 2 drops on the tongue is where most people seem to be imbibing it. But it also can be injected in some way as well. Any folks, I would say, again, not to be too graphic, again, this is more off stream, but like any talk of overdose or anything like that doesn't have lethal consequences. It is just more that the spark is up, it is like an energy shot. It gets them really buzzed up and stuff like that. So often you see people taking it, they're about to go to, say, a local sort of dance club, the local sort of nightclub, or they're going to go into a fight or something like that, like the fighting pits that you saw when Cuff sort of having off at Marlene's particular club as well. The thing you'll notice, though, that people have their own stash. They're not sharing it. And you get the sense, similar to how the Branch twins operated, that people get addicted slowly and they don't like sharing. So it's almost like a self-induced selfishness comes over it. We're not sort of sharing things, even though it is quite pricey itself, which is good for you guys in a sense, because you can now hack up the prices a little bit, because people aren't sharing stuff. It's not like dropout sharing password thing. It's more like people are very sensible with it, but also when they take it, they feel that high and they want to keep that high, so it just keeps on going. But the rare occasions when there is an overdose of some sort, it is not lethal. It is just it's more obvious that they've taken it, and more obvious when a blue coat picks them up and takes them to a cell overnight to sober up. So that's what you get there. So its effects on the living, it makes sense that you would be about energy and getting you energized.
Have we learnt its like main dangers yet?
Not yet, because you've not taken it yourselves, and the briefing I would say is that you kind of suspected that if any dangers would be, it'd be something that you'd have to experience or like induce the experiment on a living person. The only thing you've seen so far, I believe, Doctor, is on undead bodies, which have gone back to life a little bit.
And mice.
And mice, yes. The mice also have not perished or seem to have any negative symptoms as of yet. Okay.
Probably
Great.
fine then. Sounds safe and good and up for a good time.
Mm-hmm.
There's no moral quandary about selling it, I think.
I'm going to go over to Cuff now, if I may. Cuff, I remember last time you were saying that you were spending sort of your vice a little bit with Lydra, thanks to the incident that happened. And I guess my question to you is, do you spend many days with Lydra? Or, because your vice will pay up and stuff like that, there's no problem with that. But what does Cuff do when Cuff isn't on a mission, I guess? Do you want to just pin where you are?
I think Cuff probably, that first time with Lydra, was mainly so that they could beat themselves up and feel very guilty for the things that they've done. But as the days have gone on, they found that actually spending time with Lydra has been something that's kind of softened on them. And although it originally felt like kind of duty and guilt, I think it started to feel more normal. Maybe one of the places where Cuff feels the most able to be themselves at the moment, because they can't really make it much worse. And probably spent quite a lot of time when it's possible, no one else is around, kind of sat talking to Lydra.
Lydra has been, I'm going to say, been with you this whole time. She's not left, and probably for good reason as well, because obviously there's been such a long time since you've seen her, and then for her to suddenly appear under very traumatic circumstances, that you're not willing to let her go. And I'd say with the Doctor as well, the jaw itself typically does heal. It's roughly, in our terminology,
quickly, all kinds of.
it's about 4 to 6 weeks a jaw heal, but for it to gain strength and function properly, it's a couple of months, so to speak. So it's roughly has healed, but it's still incredibly weak. The swelling has gone down quite a bit. She still is bandaged up, and I think you would take the time to do it. But as a result, she doesn't really talk that much. It's still quite painful to talk. And so most of the time, I'd say, Cuff, she just listens. And throughout this whole experience of you talking to her, it's very unnerving because her eyes have still not returned back to sort of normal. They are still that sort of void orb-like thing. So it's quite terrifying in a way. So she'll just be there with like a cup of tea and just look very alien-like. But she listens, and she doesn't like shoo you away or anything like that. She will often still use like the pen and pencil, the pad to write things, and often they are just words of like sort of encouragement and understanding. She struggles to have a memory of what happened, but what she does tell you, and I assume you would give to the others, is that all she remembers from what happened before was that she saw a door in the middle of a street near where she was working, and she thought it was some sort of game or some sort of like performance piece, and heard a voice coming through the door, and then she remembers putting her hand on the door, but then nothing else after that. And the next thing she remembers is being in the hideout with the four of you, and it's interesting when she talks about it. Oh, sorry, when she writes about it, she does seem like she's trying to remember something, and every so often she'll be scratching out words and stuff like that. And I will see every so often there'll be phrases that she says, sort of like the "I need you," no, door, no, and just it she gets frustrated as if like she's trying to grab at something but cannot quite think of it. I'd say one day you are out, Cuff. Maybe you're doing some errands for Lydra, because she still has a business. She still has is doing deal broking and stuff. And whether or not you've kept it quiet that she's back or anything like that, maybe you've just gone to check on her office. Maybe you've gone to check on a few bits and pieces for her. And as you're also walking out, slowly making your way back to the hideout, you hear a voice from behind you. Let me just get my notes up. And it's sort of a gruff, older male voice. And they just say, Miss Cuthbert?
Hello?
I hope I'm not troubling you at all. An interview comes a man with a very distinctive black coat on. He's sort of like long, sort of shaggy hair, sort of tied back in a tiny little ponytail, a scar down one cheek, really clear, crystal blue eyes. You have not met this person before.
I think I'd put on a really sweet smile and go, no trouble at all. Can I help you at all?
If I may, I wondered if you'd fancy coming into this coffee shop here just to talk a few things. It involves your friend, the doll?
The doll?
Aye, that's right.
I don't know if I know anybody with a name like that. Doesn't... Do you have a description?
They pull out a very drawn sort of the e-fit sort of image of a individual that looks very similar to doll with the sort of the cracked skin. Very hard to miss her. She has this sort of skin, you see. Ooh. I just wanted to ask a few questions, if I may.
I mean, feel free. I've got nothing to hide. Just don't know how helpful I'll be, but happy. Let's get a coffee. Always fun to pay my respects to somebody in a job such as yours. I have such huge admiration for the work you do.
You don't need to pretend, love. It's absolutely fine.
All right, well then. But either way, if I can help.
I'd appreciate it. Follow in, please. Major Rowan will want to see you.
Major Rowan. Okay.
Aye.
All right. Fiona, do I know Major Rowan?
You will have definitely heard of Major Rowan. He is a Imperial military special investigator. Whilst you may not have worked with him or under him or anything like that, you know that he's one of the top leaders of the Blackcoats themselves. Whether or not he's involved in your sort of research about stuff, you are unsure. The major thing is that he has not been here for a while, and suddenly you connect why is that Imperial military, they've been abroad quite a bit, and suddenly with the appearance of the Covenant.
Yeah, they're all back. Okay. I would follow this person to the coffee shop for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are very gentle about it. You can see like they are very at ease with you. And as they open the door, you see that this coffee shop as well, it's quite a petite sort of like I imagine a sort of patisserie type sort of place. You see all the beans put up on the counter and stuff. And as you walk in and you look, it's completely empty. Bar, a booth in the corner, and yeah, you see what looks to be Major Rowan, this sort of a little bit more portly individual, little sort of small glasses, tucking himself into a little, I want to call him like a coffee like tower, essentially like a bun, essentially with lots of things on it, and the cream sort of comes out over it.
That looks delicious.
All right, help yourself to one.
You sure?
To the
really?
counter. On the house.
Well, I can't say no to that. I'd love one. Yeah, could I get one of those, please? That looks amazing. Thank you so much.
There's no server there at all. And as you sort of look over the counter, you do see a little couple of spots of blood on the actual till itself. but you can help yourself to any of the confectionery and whatnot.
Yeah, I will. I'll get one on a plate. I'll just pretend I don't see the blood.
Yeah.
But I've definitely noticed it.
Yeah.
So you're Major Rowan then. Gosh, you
Aye.
must have worked really hard to get to where you are.
Evelyn Cuthbert. It's all right. I know. It's words are meaningless, and I know you've run for them from so long, but I just thought we'd have a bit of a chat, you see. There's been some interesting things happening around, and I thought maybe you can help.
Oh, I don't really understand where you're going with this. I'm gonna look around and just see how far the door is, and if anyone's guarding it.
It's not very far at all. You have the other individual, the man with the ponytail, so stood back a bit. And a Major Frog goes, "You're more than welcome to leave right now. It's just it'll be bad for your friends, Doll as well. She came and visited us, by the way. Just trying to send some missives to some people, and well, with the mortal emperor checking all the postage and whatnot, we thought it important to check her notes, and we found some really interesting writing there."
All right. Okay. Well, if we're going to do this, get to it. Otherwise, I shall leave.
All right. Tell me, what do you know of doors?
Doors?
Hi. Doors.
What do I know of doors? They open and shut? What do you mean?
We've had a number of reports that a number of doors are appearing in Duskvol, and well, we think it's linked to these disappearances. People
Right.
stupidly think, "Oh, there's a door. It's just appeared from nowhere. Let's see what's through it."
Okay.
And then they disappear. And then the door disappears as well. He sort of it beckons you over and indicates a number of like newspapers from the ink rates, and you can see those various little bits and gazetteers of like again that have been cut out and stuff. And he's poring over them. Now, it seems that you are connected in some strange way to the doors. And he points to another article, and on it is like a sort of mugshot photo of both Layella and Laurent Branch. After much interrogation with these two chuckleheads, they admitted that they were getting product through, they called them fractures, but it seemed like they were getting them through doors. They said they were told times and places where doors would appear, and anything that came out of it they could take. And so they'd been helping themselves to things that had been reappearing from doors. Now, here's this question for you. If someone is going through a door and then something's coming back out the door, what is on the other side of the door?
I don't know. It's intriguing, I must say.
Right.
I mean, honestly, that's the first I've heard of. That's where they were getting their goods from. Is disturbing.
He takes another real bite into this coffee tower. The cream sort of comes over. You see, the doors have been appearing not just in the city, but all over the Shattered Isles themselves.
Interesting.
We even had one about, when was it? And the gentleman with the ponytail goes, 3 nights ago, sir. 3 nights ago. That was, well, apparently something appeared in the sky. Not our ship, before you make any side Alec conversations. A door appeared in the sky over the docks. And apparently 5 individuals came through. Now, we know the location of one of them because we have their body on a slab. They didn't make it out the dock. Look, Evelyn.
Look,
I don't.
You can call me Cuff.
If you would like that. I appreciate you go through these smoke and mirrors to be hidden. I feel like we could do a little bit of a deal or some sort. How do you say that? Cuff. If you can find these other 4 individuals that came through this fracture and bring them alive to me, or give me information of their whereabouts, I can get rid of, and points to another thing on the desk which seems to be a file which has your name on it. I can make it all go away. I can make whatever is happening with you and your friend and her little messages go away. Leave you well alone. Because you understand that what she has in those missives, that amounts to treason. And the Emperor, the immortal Emperor, we don't like treason, do we?
All right, you're on. I'll do it.
Oh, excellent.
One question: you say one of them was found found dead already?
No, we believe they drowned in the harbour.
Right.
The body was recovered by a docker.
Okay. This docker around? Have you any questions?
Unfortunately, the spirit wardens got there before we could.
Right.
Last heard that you've been questioned by a spirit warden. The stranger themselves we have on a slab down at the morgue.
The stranger?
That's what we're calling them.
They're called strangers. The ones that come through the cracks.
I mean, it's the terminology we've brought them. They look very weird. The person themselves, they had a strange outfits and a strange item in their hand. Looked like some sort of material I'd never seen before.
Can you describe it?
It was about, I'd say, the length of about half the length of your arm, like a little sort of tube of some sort. Buttons, lots of buttons over it.
Right. Okay. My only problem is this: you say you want them alive. What if they're dead before I get to them?
Well, they better not be.
Not a fat lot I could do about that.
They better not be. Because you see, obviously, if we're after them, I think there may be more of them.
Right.
With all the doors appearing and people disappearing and things appearing, we could have a serious situation on our hand. An epidemic, you say, of these strangers. You better find them alive. Be better for us, be better for you.
Can I confide something in you?
Oh, I mean, I've given you all my secrets.
Yeah, I'll have a bit of an equal
What's one
exchange.
more? All right.
Gentleman, a dead man, turned up at my door not long ago. Somebody we knew from before he died, and as far as we knew, body hadn't been recovered. And then he turned up at our door, and without being too ghostly, spiritual, it's not my bag. He definitely wasn't that guy. He was definitely someone else, and he was definitely trying to get in, and he definitely needed an invite. And it was concerning. It was unearthly. It was unnatural. It's stayed with me, to be honest.
There's a long pause. You can hear sort of the ticking of the clock on the wall. I appreciate your honesty. If you have had an encounter with a stranger, wait, a body, hang on, a body of someone had gone missing and somebody else was in the body.
A cadaver,
That's what you said.
basically, but with somebody else inside.
That is incredibly worrying.
It is. I agree.
It means, if that is correct, means whatever coming through these fractures, these doors, means that they can jump to empty vessels. Spirit wardens won't like that.
No. No, that makes sense actually. That was the bit I couldn't put together, is how the spirit warden's not found. I just assumed they had got the body, and and
That's why they've been a bit, let's just say, trigger happy. Trying to get as much information out of people.
Well, Major, thank you. And look, I don't like you, and I don't like what you do, but maybe we can do something that would be good for the general community. What do you think?
Indeed. I appreciate this cloak and daggers business and the forcefulness of this meeting. I appreciate your willingness to work with us, because this doesn't just affect you; it affects us all.
It doesn't, and that file I will want personally. After this, I can do with it what I will after that.
If you want to come by my office anytime, you need only look up. Points up to the ship through the window. Just say my name and you'll get full privileges, like you used to do.
Okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind. And am I free to leave?
Oh, of course. I'd take another pastry on your way out.
This will be plenty, thank you. And as I go, I put the whole thing in my mouth in one go.
Mm-hmm.
And just, as I leave, swallow the whole thing in one bite.
Man, if only there was like a choking roll or something. It's like, no. It looks cool. So just to reiterate,
Don't bring any for the rest of us. Fine.
to reiterate,
1 minute, I've got a friend called Where.
To reiterate, just in case it was not clear. So yeah, Major Rowan has tasked you, Cuff, which would be with the whole crew, to find these strangers. 5 strangers apparently arrived through a fracture, a door above the port, and seemingly one body was found drowned. They suspect there are more of these strangers at large. So ideally, to capture all, one, however many, and bring them alive back to Major Rowan to find out what they are doing and how have they got through these portals and what is happening in that sense. The information you've got is that the body was recovered by a docker who had been taken by the spirit wardens for questioning, and they have not been released. But the actual body themselves is at a morgue, a Bluecoats sort of morgue. Information would have been given to you about where it is, so you can go investigate the bodies yourself. But that is the heist: find where these strangers are and give them to Major Rowan.
Fab. I think I would pass on all of that information, everything from that conversation, to everybody else, apart from the fact that they knew me and what my name is. I would just be like...
They just happened to pluck you off the street.
They
As someone
did.
who looked like they might be a helpful
could be
citizen.
anyone. They
Yeah,
just picked a random person and went, "Oh, thank God you're involved in crime."
I think what I would do is I would sprinkle like a little bit of... they saw me doing something a bit shady. I think they'd seen me in fighting rings before, like an undercover person had seen me in fighting rings. So
You could even say there's news articles from the ink rakes about the docker, and you do your own sort of like minority report in front of the Harriers to be like, how look, it all connects, doors, people missing, blah 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 blah, all that sort of thing as well. Yeah, absolutely.
My gut instinct so far, like kind of above the table talk for us at the moment, is we have these new connections with the Bluecoats, or certainly Ware has these new connections with the Bluecoats and with the prison. I wonder if it's worth talking to the Bluecoats about how that went down, especially if the body's in a Bluecoats place.
Yeah,
That's my thought.
I think that makes sense.
Spirit wardens
So-
have the body. No, the spirit
No,
wardens
the
have the
blue
docker,
coats have it now. Yeah.
and the
Yeah, the Spirit Wardens have the docker.
So can I just, because I think I assumed when they said that a body had been taken out of the river that was Roderick's
I'm not sure.
body.
No, I don't think it is.
they think it's a
No, I was
body
going to
that
say
came
it
out
can't
the
be
door in
because
the
obviously
sky.
the news
Yeah.
that Roderick's body had kind of been walking
How they
around
know
was
it's-
kind of news to them.
One of the bodies that fell out of a door in the sky. I don't know.
Maybe is that the one that had the I've decided it's a Nokia, had the phone.
Maybe, yeah.
Because if it is a Nokia,
It's-
it will
yeah.
still work. So, you know, it's
Yeah, it's weird.
yeah,
No
decades
signal
later.
here at all.
No, that's strange.
I think there was reports around saying that something was in the sky. In the newspapers that you read, it is sort of explained away as like a lightning barrier test of some sort. But there seems to be evidence of at least what I'm saying again to give you that justification. Major Rowan would have probably said that there was clearly evidence of more than one person, and because of the strange way that this person looked, they looked quite fresh, being dragged out of the dock, and also obviously wearing strange enough clothes. But there's also maybe stuff around, like maybe there was like more wet footprints, or maybe some other clothes that had been discarded, indicating that there was more than one person coming through this particular fracture.
yeah.
Is
Okay.
Lydra counted as one of the missing people? Because it's not common
Anyone
knowledge
would.
that we've recovered her.
She wasn't from a door in the docks, though. I think she's safe. I think that was a door.
But
Oh,
she's going back around doing her business now. So
Yeah.
maybe.
I think there must have been 5 people.
We
that came out
heard
the
about
sky.
her going missing, right? So people knew.
You
obviously
heard, yeah,
knew
you
that
heard,
she was
you heard
missing.
she was going missing because she didn't have any contact with her for a while. No one, I would say, no one's been like looking for Lydra at all. Like again, you maybe have seen those walls of missing posters and stuff, and like she was one of maybe hundreds of people that had gone missing. But unless you tell me otherwise, she hasn't really left the hideout. I was saying before. Maybe Cuff has gone check in on the business, you know, see if there are any letters or anything like that. Like, hasn't been doing business because she's still healing up. I'd say she hasn't left your hideout at all. So no one, I believe,
Knows.
unless you tell me otherwise, knows about her returning.
Okay.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does as well. I don't think
Is it
we'd
worth-
share that widely.
Yeah, I think we'd probably try and keep it to ourselves. It is weird.
Yeah.
Is it worth some of us going to the docks as well, just to seeing what
Yeah.
we can find?
think so.
I probably wouldn't want to go to the Bluecoats, even if our connection's good with it.
I
For
also
no reason.
wouldn't
I don't
want
mind
to.
Bluecoats.
And yeah, given if you've said about them saying I've committed treason,
I don't think I would say that in front of the others, but I
yeah.
would probably grab you at some point and be like, "Excuse me, we need to talk."
Okay, so maybe we have a conversation and we decide we should go to the docks and maybe leave the doctor and where to go to the Bluecoats, especially as I look a bit weird and you know Bluecoats they can be weird about shit like that.
You also have a doctor who's probably trained in doing, oh god, what's it called?
Autopsy.
Autopsy,
Postmortems?
yes.
Yes, perfect.
Postmortems and autopsies as well, yeah.
And
Those
yeah,
are
so
fun.
basically maybe me and you could go to the docks and I could try and do that, tap into the memory through the spirit field again. And then maybe where in the doctor you can go, where can do some either sneaky or distraction and the doctor can do some autopsy. That feels like good uses of our various skills.
I feel like I can just literally they knock on the door and just be like, "Hi,
Right.
I'm Dr. Penderin, and I've been sent to have a look at the body."
And then maybe where can do sneaksies and see if they're hiding anything around the bodies, like get some like of their effects that they've put in bags and hidden away or something.
Yeah.
I was thinking
You
about
still-
the only other thing I was
Go for it,
thinking is that like needle in haystacks and people who are weird, like they've got strange clothes, asking in like charity shops essentially about strange clothes, asking people if they've seen anyone. We don't quite know what this clothes look like other than
Right.
strange, so maybe that's a bit of a
I like that though. So this sounds like, just to make sure that we're still on track, it sounds like gathering in information stuff before we decide what the heist is going to be,
Yes.
which sounds really good to me.
Yeah.
So what I'd say, let's do that very short scene with the doll and Cuff, and then we can do that gather information phase, which again, remind me, which I will remind you is more spending of coin or stress or consequences later on. It's not necessarily doing rolls for it, but just wanted to let you know it's there. But that sounds good. That two people go to the dock. The doctor goes to check out and maybe does an autopsy Again, you've got that Bluecoats thing, so it makes more sense that you can get in there. And if Wev wants to go check out some fine clothing, it makes sense. I mean, you do have a connection who knows about clothing, necessarily, Pedra, as well. So there's that as well.
She's definitely still alive.
She's fine, so
Yeah.
I could, yeah.
Yeah, you can go see it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that short scene then with Cuff and the doll, please.
So I think marching away towards the docks, I would pull you aside and say, Primulina, we need to talk.
Okay.
So there's a little bit that I omitted actually from that, and I think you can probably imagine some of the stuff I omitted and why Major Rowan wanted to speak to me in particular. But actually, your name come up a little bit, and apparently you've been sending messages to the Bluecoats, amongst others, kind of encrypted, strange messages that amount to treason. And I wasn't going to tell the others about it, but I am a little baffled and confused and worried. What's going on?
Treason. That seems excessive. I would say that seems excessive. Cuff, how did we meet? Do you remember?
I remember, yeah.
Do you remember what I was asking you about?
I remember what you were asking me about, yeah, and I still don't trust him at all, and I will not rest until I've got to the bottom of it.
I know.
And I have brought them to justice.
And I'm trying to help with that. I'm talking to people. I'm trying to find those that are liaising with demons.
Right. So why...
For you. I wasn't going to tell you. I knew you'd get angry.
I cannot get angry, you know. I can actually...
I know. But when it comes to this, it sits right here, and she'll put her hand on your heart. And
I'm going
I
to
worry
put my
about
hand
you.
over it and give it a little squeeze. And just there'll be like a moment of softness where, like, it means a lot.
I just worry about you. And your anger is very useful, and it's saved me on multiple occasions. Let me do what I do, and then you can do what you do. But to do that, I do have to send messages, and some of them I have to put some things in about... You know where I'm from, Cuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you got any... Look, are these messages going anywhere? Have you got any leads? Like...
That's a good
Is
question.
there anything that you've gained from them?
Fiona, have I gained anything from the messages I've been sending?
Let's see. So these messages have been in part of the Vice that you've been doing, because of your obligations and stuff. What I would say is that you have had messages come back to you from your family. Basically, there's lots of trivialities like, cousin Jameson's got engaged again. That sort of vibe. But in between sort of the notes and stuff like that, you have got a sense of they're encouraging you to do some more research in what you're currently doing. But it was strange. The last message you got from your father, I believe, said it was a very short missive, which didn't have too much in terms of like encouragement or anything like that. But it definitely felt he sort of was indicating to you that things had changed somewhat. Not necessarily for him and everyone was safe and stuff, but something was happening, and he would contact you when the time was right.
In Tigros.
You definitely get a sense in Tigros, yes. You can something was, and you suspect maybe with the rise of the Immortal Emperor's sort of unity agenda, perhaps might have had a bit of an increase on stuff. So maybe your father and your whole family being a bit more careful about what they send out.
Right. And have I, like the stuff with the Bluecoats and the Blackcoats, where I was sort of trying to work out if anyone was liaising there, did I get any further, or is it still sort of a bit of a mystery?
I think it's still a little bit of a mystery because you weren't really doing that as a project, I'd say. But I think you're basically doing the groundwork for it to be like
Fine.
Right, and yeah, that's the only thing I'd say on that.
In which case, there's nothing yet, but some of them, Cuff. There is problems in there. You know that anyway.
just be careful because they've got you.
It's good to know.
and I
My
know-
father's worried too, so.
Well, yeah, and I'm worried, and I've been in their paws before, and I wouldn't like it to happen to you. And if we can get this job done, then we're both fine, all right? But
We're both
be
fine.
careful.
They're going to pardon me too.
Yeah, that's
You
my
asked for that.
understanding. Well, they said if I didn't do the job, they would
Right.
come and get you. So
Okay. Thank you. Let's do it.
all right, okay. But you know what? Next time, tell me, clue me in, okay? Just so I can get ahead of it. And I'm
Yes.
not being dragged off the street by some black coat that I've never met before.
Yes, of course.
Calling me bloody Evelyn. Oh,
Ooh,
right.
They
let's,
full named you. Interesting.
They Evelyn Cuthberted me.
Wow. Wow. You must be in trouble.
Well, let's see if we can get out of it. And we'll carry on walking to the ducks.
Makes sense. Okay, so what I would say is that I'm going to ask the doll. I assume you want to do like an attune check, like you did before, to get like a
Yes,
sense of stuff. Is that what you're thinking?
Please.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to go there
Sounds
and try and because what was it you said? There was like the memories of things within the spirit field, and
Echoes. Of some
Echoes,
sort.
that
Yeah,
was
and
it,
they've
yeah.
and they've been from what your memory of like the stuff with Roderick was that he had said to you that these echoes have been more and more like almost like manifesting, so it's very easy, more
it's easier to
manipulative
do it.
stuff.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
like to attune in. Yeah.
Sounds good. I am because this is gathering information. I will make you roll for it just to see how much you get. You're not going to have any bad consequences, but I'm going to give you 3 stress for it.
Okay.
Just because you're taking your time with this, and you're aware that spirit wardens are looking about and stuff like that. No bad will come to you because it is gathering information. I
Yeah.
will say that. But if you don't roll well, you're just going to get a very limited effect. That's all I'm going to
That's
say to you on that
fair.
system.
Okie dokie. I've got 3 in attune, so hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. I think you've got a lot, so we'll see.
Wham. 4.
But 4 is still a mixed component, so you don't get lots of information, but you know it's still enough to go on. So yeah, you take your time going to maybe the farther reaches of a pier, perhaps, and again you're taking your time. It's roughly just after lunch, and you can see people are still working and stuff like that. And you maybe look up to where you figure this sort of door would be. Again, you read reports and stuff like that, and you. I mean, describe again how you would do this ritual. Actually, that's a good point. I should hand that out to you.
Is there like a banister or any kind of physical object? She would sort of, at the end of this pier, she would hold onto the railings and sort of dig her fingernails in and then sort of lean her head back and her eyes sort of go full white. Her mouth opens and her skin, the cracks start to like let little bits of light sort of fade through. Like there's sort of LED lights under her skin, and as she opens her mouth, there'll be sort of wisps of like smoke, kind of bluey smoke, come out, which then she sees. No one else, I think, would see this, but then she sees them sort of spread out and turn into this big fog that then starts replaying things that happened in the past.
Absolutely, and as before, so this sort of mist and fog sort of comes up. Everything sort of goes back into reverse, almost that sort of reverse bullet time sort of thing. I am aware of time. We'll finish the scene. We'll do it to a little drop. Sorry, I didn't realize what the time was. Yeah, and you can see like your own versions of yourselves going backwards of the pier. You see ships sort of going back out to sea and then back in again, etc. And you rewind time until the night 3 nights ago, and you sort of look up to the sky, and it is imperceptible. Possibly to Cuff, again, you're seeing your friend do this sort of thing, and you can see suddenly, again, it's out of nowhere, it just sort of pops into existence, a huge door, roughly, a double door, that has what looks like glass panes in it. You can see almost like there's like a rose and like a lily in them as well, and the sort of door then suddenly just sort of shudders a little bit in the air. Again, you're watching this almost like stop motion sort of thing. It sort of opens, and then suddenly you just see these bodies, 5 of them, just fall through the air. They're not walking or anything like this, like poof, plummeting, and like you see them slowly, like jarringly so, almost like those sort of stick things you used to throw up onto the wall and it would slowly sort of come down, almost like that, the way they sort of fall with your stop motion stuff. Each of them hit the water. and you sort of are looking a little bit, and you spotting, maybe you even zoom in a little bit with the way you sort of do this sort of thing, and you can see 4 individuals sort of getting out of the water, looking back, and then sort of one just shrugs their head and indicates that they have to go. You zoom forward a couple of hours to where you see like a fishing boat dredges up what looks like a body, and they bring it out, and you see the body in its full entirety. And it looks to be like a young woman, I'd say mid-20s or so. Her hair is quite cut to her head, almost like I don't want to say a pixie cut, but similar sort of style, like sort of that. She seems to have these incredibly huge, are they like hooped earrings? It's quite unsure. And she's wearing like, so interesting, a dress, but not like what you would know. First of all, you have to look away because the dress is incredibly high. It's up to her knee. It is very much not the fashion, and very much sort of like outrageous in that sense. But there's also like square, it's almost like colours with the black and white squares throughout the dress itself. And in the hand, as they sort of bring up the hand to look at it, you see this sort of object. It's a little bit longer than the phone you were referring to before, but it definitely has, like, as they pull it out, you see all these sort of buttons on it. It looks like to be a red button, and then like what looks like a tiny little crystal at the end. They open it up and they take out these sort of weird sort of like metal like tubes, and then put it back in, and they like, as they press the buttons, clearly the jewel sort of touches and twists a little bit, but nothing seems to happen. So they take the body, and you see the Bluecoats come with their sort of carriage with the goats, and sort of puts it back into the carriage, and then you're back to where you are. That's the information that you get.
Did I recognise anyone that fell?
No.
No.
All strangers to you.
They were bizarre.
Yeah. I don't think they're from here.
They didn't look like it. They had a strange tube. It had a little crystal on it. It was quite pretty.
Yeah. They wouldn't have been able to get very far without being noticed.
No. Maybe Ware and the doctor will have better luck finding them. We can compare notes.
It's a good idea.
All right. We would now go over to the doctor and Ware, but we are at half past, and I know we've got a law drop to do, so we need to go do the law drop, and then we'll come back to what the group's up to, and then we will start the heist. Emily, please. Let's go for our law drop, please.
My turn. I was excited. Me and Holly were with each other the other day, and I can't remember how it came up, but we were talking about souls leaving the body. And Holly mentioned that there was a thing about souls weighing 21 grams because the body losing weight at death. And I was like, is that true? Because I hadn't heard of it. There's a film called 21 Grams, which I haven't seen the film. I did not do that in any of my research for this law drop. But if anyone has, let me know. But I believe it's all about souls and things like that. And I wanted to look at actually where that came from. And the 21 Grams experiment is a study published in 1907 by Duncan McDougall, which is just a great name, who was a physician in Massachusetts. And he decided that souls must have...
Not even a Scot.
Not even a Scot. Well, maybe.
Duncan McDougall.
But Massachusetts.
To Massachusetts.
Maybe he moved, yeah. Who knows?
Scotland.
I haven't looked much into him, I'm afraid.
Full biography.
Yeah, and I've done a bad job. I'm sorry. I looked into the science rather than the man. Well, we know a bit about the man, and the man, it's not good science, lads. Basically, McDougall had a little hypothesis. He was like, maybe souls have a physical weight, and he was like, I will measure the weight of people when they die, as they die, to see like what the drop is. And he at the moment of death. So basically, he went to a nursing home where there were 6 patients who they were on death's door. Like they knew it was coming. So 4 had TB, 1 had diabetes, and 1 from unspecified causes. So 6 people as a start is bad science. Let's start there.
It's not a very good big sample size.
We need a bigger sample size. McDougall. He specifically picked people who had conditions that were sort of they caused like a physical exhaustion because he needed them to be very still when they died, which I thought was kind of sad. But like, makes sense. And then when they looked like they were, close to death, they moved their beds onto a scale.
Oh my God.
And I think it's not really talked about in anything I've read. It was sensitive to 0.2 of an ounce, which is 5.6 grams. Okay, so that's the range of. So basically, you've got a range of like 10 or even like almost 11 grams wrong either way. Anyway, so that's
you're not
bad.
touching
Which is
it,
half
right?
of what this potential thing is.
Yeah. And anyway, and so he measured all of them. One of the patients lost weight, but then that came back quite quickly. Not quite, it's not clear why. 2 lost weight at death, but a few minutes later lost even more weight. We'll come on to why that probably was later. One of the patients lost 3/4 of an ounce, which is 21.3 grams. And he decided that was the one. That's the correct one, because one of the other people that lost weight, he was like, oh, we haven't calibrated the scales properly. One of the other ones, he was like, oh, something went wrong. I think someone was leaning on the scale. He had a lot of reasons as to why other ones weren't valid, but this one was. And then he was like, well, we can prove that humans have souls and animals don't by doing the same thing with dogs. However, he didn't do that in such a humane way. So he said he wished to use dogs that were sick or dying, but was unable to find any. It's not said anywhere specifically what he did, but it's believed that he poisoned them. So he poisoned healthy dogs, and then they didn't lose weight. And he was like, science, I've done it. Humans have souls, dogs don't. So basically, it's been widely dismissed entirely. And also, there's a lot to talk about, like when the body dies. But that's where the 21 grams comes from. That's literally it. They've never redone the experiment because ethics and lots of other things, I think. But in general,
I feel like it would be like, you're saying, oh, there's a margin of error, but like, let's say like no one's touching it, like scales is going to be stable. It might be wrong. It's going to be stable. Like if there was a moment of death, it'd be really clear if something
but a lot of
suddenly moved.
so like there is weight change at death. Like when people die, you will eventually lose weight.
Not in the moment, not like.
Well, no, yes, in the moment. So basically, one of the other things that happens when you die is your muscles all relax. So pretty much everyone like pisses and shits themselves on death. I know you're saying on the bed, but I feel like there's probably. Shamini, are you saying you believe it's 21 grams because one person had that exact weight change?
I'm saying it should be really obvious, and I feel like
I'm surprised no
could
one's
have done
it
that
again.
experiment better.
Yeah.
Like McDougal.
I agree. He's done it.
not that
He did
hard.
bad science. I'm surprised no one else has done science. I think it's because we don't tend to do science around souls. Is quite a big
Or science around
Yeah.
people as they're dying.
It's
like
the
that's
ethics
such a
of it
big
is
thing we don't
really rough.
do. Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I was
I mean,
gonna
there'll be
say,
people.
yeah.
I'm sure there'll be people who would be keen and be fine to do it, but like most of the science we do about dead bodies is after they've died, pretty soon after they've died, but after they've died.
yeah,
not
exactly.
on-
This is being there while they're still
As
alive.
They have to be
about
lying there
to die.
with your clipboard, being like, whenever you're ready, off you
Pop
pop.
off.
And
Yeah.
Now,
'cause
now,
and also
yeah.
there's like a lot of like there's some people. There's been some experiments that seem to show that the brain keeps going for a little bit after like being declared dead, which is meant to. It's not like they don't believe there's any form of consciousness. They believe it's simply some electrical impulses still sort of going through. But that is a thing, like and then because the way they sort of classify dead is you've stopped breathing, your heart has stopped, and your pupils no longer respond to light.
Yeah.
That's why you see in films people shining lights in people's eyes.
Shining the lights on
So that's so there's there's a lot of interesting things around like what actually happens at the moment of death and like when the actual moment of death, like is it because like for some people it's instant, so it's like everything stops at once, but other people they stop breathing and then that's the trigger for sort of other things happening, or their heart stops and then that's the trigger. So there's a lot of very interesting, quite sad stuff around it.
If there was a 21 grams, that would be really convenient because then that would be the moment you'd be like,
Well, it would be really convenient.
Sold.
Unfortunately, even in his experiment, which he used as proof, only one of the 6 did it. And then obviously your body starts decomposing pretty quickly, because your blood starts to pool wherever because your heart starts pumping, right? So your blood just goes, oh, cool, I'll chill out where I am.
Yeah.
And so if you're lying on your back, like it all pools downwards, which is why bodies have like weird bruising and things often on them.
It's weird. Like
It is
I can remember. I was quickly saying like, 'cause my mum is now a retired doctor, but she told me a long time ago before she became a doctor, like when she was like 14 or 15, she thought that the soul was like another part of the body. You know, like how you have the gallbladder and whatnot. So that if you opened up, you'd be like, "There's the soul." Yeah, exactly. And then put it out. Or like she always thought it. She thought it was like she always thought of it like a sparkly blanket is what she described it to me. And I was just like, what happened when you finally got into medical school? She went, oh, well, I obviously knew by then that it wasn't. But like, I just like that idea of just like, it is something physical that you could pull out. Like, there's
I like
a soul.
the idea that it's a thing that's like over all of you, but you can't see it. It's like a sparkly blanket.
Like a blanket.
It
reminds me a bit of what like ancient Egyptian mythology.
Yeah.
Like in the terms of like the weighing of the heart being like one of the major processes of the afterlife, like comparing the heart, which they thought was the kind of receptacle of the soul, against the feather of Ma'at, and to say whether you could go on to the afterlife.
Yeah, what was the reason? If it was heavy enough, you couldn't, or what was the?
It's something about truth, wasn't it?
They'd have to be balanced.
Balanced,
Ma'at, the goddess of wisdom and whatever, had a feather, and your soul had to be kind of light enough to kind of balance out with her feather, because if you did dark evil deeds, it would kind
Heavy.
of make I think that's that way round, rather than
I think that makes more sense. You're like, oh, I'm better than the feather. Oh no, like
You didn't live enough.
yeah,
You're a baby.
Go back.
You're tiny little feathery. You didn't do enough. You didn't do anything.
They
go back and do
whacked
some
the
more.
brain out through the nose as well, didn't they?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
weird stuff.
there are some similar-ish experiments, not on people. Someone did one on sheep at the moment of death, and they all varied their weight, though not losing it. They all gained around 18 to 780 grams, which was then lost again around the moment of death. This isn't as dead on at the moment of death. So again, like, it's all a bit of a weird thing, because like, well, I don't know, because I haven't read the actual paper. I've read the summary of it.
Maybe it's because we gain 8 souls when we die.
You gain sheep gain souls.
We gain our souls when we die. It goes into dead, dying sheep.
As sheep die, they gain other souls, and they're suddenly like, oh my god, so
Human
many
souls.
souls.
Too much.
Well, what's going to happen in places like Wales or New Zealand, where there's more sheep than people? Like, there's some sheep that are never going to get a soul.
Or they don't get souls.
Souls.
Sorry, no, they just die. Yeah, it's sad.
It depends whether souls can go faster than the speed of light or not, because if
That's true.
so, then it doesn't really matter where they are.
In my mind,
that's
souls
true.
like go whoosh. They sort of they're very quick, but they are like a little cloud, like whooshing around
Like the
from
dreams
sheep. Yeah.
in the BFG, where he has the
Yes,
sparkly blanket.
Yeah.
cute. Anyway, so there you go.
It's
So
our religion.
souls probably don't weigh 21 grams because they probably aren't a physical thing. However,
Probably.
when you die, shit does happen to the body. So,
Wait.
Shit, literally.
shit. Yes, shit does
Shit
leave.
does happen.
It's because all your muscles just give up, and so your sphincter's
worked
very
hard.
good at
They
keeping
deserve-
it in, and it's not anymore.
It deserves a break. It does good work. Thank you, Sphincter.
Anyway, so there you go. So we have no evidence of souls in humans currently, but who knows? Anyway, maybe we could
nice
make
one,
some up.
Emily.
Cool.
Hello, and welcome back to Blades in the Dark. Blades in the Dark, Blood and Fog is what I also want to say there. We're returning back to our Harriers. So two of our members of the Harriers have gone over to the docks to find out more information about these strangers, these individuals that seem to appear from a door in the middle of the air. Let's go over to the good doctor. Who has basically, I believe the plan is to go to the Bluecoats. I was going to say corner shop. That's not what I mean. The station. I'd have a nice lolly, please. And use your sort of status to get in to have a proper look at the body that they found in the docks themselves. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Arison is just very used to just kind of walking into a room and pretending that they're the most important person in the room. So we'll just kind of do that.
Yes. So the answer to this is yes. You have a good relationship with the Bluecoats thanks to what we did last time. What I will say before you go in, and I'll just because this is you, the player, would know this. We do have a clock that says the doctor will be recognised, and that currently is a 2 to 4. 2 segments out of 4. And so, what I'd say, along with a little bit of stress, because it will take some time to gather this information, is that if you wanted to have a bit more information, I will happily give you a devil's bargain, but I would tick one of these segments up, so it will become 3 out of 4 instead of 2. So, so that's what I'm offering to you in terms of getting information about this body. That yes, you absolutely can be super important doctor, but to get more information, you might be noticed as a result. How do
Yeah,
you feel about
that's
that?
fine.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yes. So
Tim
take
says
me.
left. Let's
Yes.
go.
Go, baby. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So take 2 stress. And I will fill in one of these clocks here. Sorry, the cat is insisting that she wants to take part of this as well. So currently you're at a 3 out of 4.
Fancy Alice can also take 2 stress. For, getting
She's
caught in the
already
crossfire.
stressed. She's so stressed in general. She's like, it's dinner time. So I'm going to lay out basically, we're already there. We're in the mortuary themselves. You have been left to your own devices. Again, just the way Arison is, I imagine, is just like you're just super calm. And, I want to speak to the manager. That sort of vibe to you. And you show your credentials of being, obviously a healthcare professional, and you go in, and yeah, you see this body that I had sort of described previously, exactly the same. They don't have any clothes on or anything just now. Clearly, someone else has had a preliminary sort of look at them. Young female individual, sort of sharp blondish hair, quite cut close to the jaw. It's just the style of it. You can see they're like looking through the actual initial notes that somebody has made, that the sort of items that they came in with, like these sort of earrings, this sort of shift style dress with different sort of black and white pattern on it. You also find in this particular thing, again, like maybe a box of stuff. Again, maybe you wouldn't be able to touch it necessarily. Again, you're here to look at the cadaver stuff, but reading through, you can see that they have like a pair of shades, like looks like very dark glasses, but in a very interesting sort of like almost like funky kind of style. Looks like in the shape of a flowers, almost like 2 sort of flowers. You have there in those shades, and yeah, you also have this description of what sounds like a long object with buttons on it. Clearly, there's no word for it that you are aware of. Like you can imagine it. Someone's actually done a sketch of it as well. This sort of like oblong sort of thing with buttons on it, with a little jewel on it. And
Any
it's sort
tubes?
of all of it is any tubes. They talk about like 2 tubes. And maybe they inscribe on it like it says like double A's on them as well into the inventory there. So, but yeah, you get all that sort of information. But I guess to you, Doctor, what is it that you're looking for in terms of the body itself? This is, again, I'm not going to make you roll for this necessarily, but this is where the sort of the devil's bargain is going to come into effect about how much information I give you.
I mean, the body that came to our door could do things that weren't possible for a normal human to do. So I guess I'm checking for that kind of extra level of hyper flexibility that the stranger that came to the door appeared to have. I want to look at their eyes to see if they've got black a la Lydra stuff. See if there's any markings on their skin, or like I don't know if it's either written down or clear on their body of the cause of death. Like, did all of these people die the same? And yeah, I don't know, just like unusual either markings or things that look kind of out of place.
Perfect. No, this is great. It's great. Again, yeah, you're sort of looking at the sort of more physical stuff. Looking at the body itself again, because you take your time with this, hence why the sort of stress comes in. There doesn't seem to be any markings, any cuts or bruising at all on the body itself. You are looking through the notes as well, and again, I'm obviously leaving this up to your own description. Maybe you start to cut into the body and do that sort of description, talking to yourself. And what you notice, and your conclusion is this person died by drowning. They had a lot of fluid in their lungs, and also they maybe, again, the impact of the body to the water. You can see maybe there's a couple of fractures in the ribs themselves, so maybe that's what they were struggling. They again couldn't struggle with at all. The body itself, otherwise, is in perfect health. The skin is quite clear and smooth. There doesn't seem to be any like unusual tattoos or markings or anything like that. Looking at the teeth as well, seems perfectly like normal. There's nothing out of the ordinary. I'd say, like, if anything, this person took very good care of their teeth, more so than maybe you've seen with other people around in the Dunslow slums, perhaps, when you've done your own little visitations there. The eyes are the interesting thing, and this is where you're going to get the extra effect. You're sort of finishing off again. Maybe you've gone from like toe to head, as you're like looking over the fingers and all that sort of thing. And you get to the eyes themselves. The eyes have been currently closed, and as you open them, you see what looks like, at a glance, normal-looking eyes. It's sort of like plasticky, sort of like, again, almost like little balls. And yeah, you do your thing with the little light that you have. Obviously, no movement in the iris at all. And you realise that they look very plastically, like they sort of the shine of it comes off quite a bit, and you just tap them.
They're not real.
You then undo the eye very gently, and you pull out a sliver, and it is just a piece of like covering, and underneath, as you suspected, a black orb, like just darkness. The whole eye itself is completely absorbed in this sort of new iris. So you would suspect this information I'm giving you is that when folks are here or coming here pretending to be other people, they disguise their eyes by using these sort of coverings. But more importantly, and possibly more scary, is that they don't use their eyes to see.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the little coverings, then they're opaque. You can't actually see through
Fully.
them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. That is very interesting. So that's either some sort of blind sight or just merely relying on other senses, I guess. Because there's no other visible means of being able to see, I guess.
Yeah, you look at the hands and the feet, there's no sort of like additional strange like alien contusions or anything like that. They look completely human.
Apart from weird black eyes. Shall I be a bit weird? Probably.
Lou, you can always be a bit
I'd
weird.
like to take one of the eyes, please, Fiona.
Okie dokie. Again, I'm not going to describe in too much detail, but you can absolutely, yeah, you take a moment, and again, with that stress, with the devil's bargain, all that sort of thing, actually, maybe this is how people suspect that you have been here, because you're all known as a doctor for doing unusual things, and so like you try, you get the eye out, you put it into a secure, sanitized box or maybe like a little beaker or something like that in your pocket. Obviously, try to put the plastic cover back on if you wish to, or you might want to leave it obvious there. It doesn't fit properly over it. It's almost like caved in a little bit there. So it is. You have been here as a result. So I like that. But yeah, you have, and as you pull it out and disconnect the optic nerve, the whole thing is complete black orb.
Is it still attached? Does it have an optic nerve that goes into?
Seems to. Yeah, seems to. So yeah.
Okay. So it's not like they've been replaced with anything. It's been transformed somehow. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe.
Interesting.
Cool. We will go over to where. I appreciate your eating just now. Where. But I just want to check with you because you were. The plan was for you to go to, I believe, charity shop hunting. And I just want to just check with you, what is it you're looking for? Or is there any bits of information you're doing as you're sort of scouting these shops?
Could there have been time for the doll to have explained what the doll saw on the people falling before went out charity shopping?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is all sort of nebulous gathering information phase. Basically, any information I say to one person, I assume you all have it. It doesn't have to be all.
We're not happening at the same time or anything like that. Okay, great. So the doll will tell you everything that they saw.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I will be. Yeah, I'm looking for if any of the weird people have gotten rid of their weird clothes. Where would they have ended up? Not really sure if it's upmarket, downmarket, but I just act like I'm out looking for weird clothes.
Classic. I think you are a sort of person that would know these things, and I think this is stress again. I don't think this is heat. I don't think this is coin, because you're not going to buy anything. If you want to use
buy
your,
it if it matches,
if it looks good, yeah. I mean, okay, well,
if it looks good on me,
okay.
yeah,
What I
well,
will
in fact,
say,
yeah. If I find something weird enough, I'm 100% buying it. Anyway,
like,
so-
oh yeah, I'll take
Yeah.
this. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give you. It would be 2 stress. If you want to take the stress to gather some information, because it takes some time. Again, you're not really sure. You're asking around people. I will give you a devil's bargain as well. I will. The devil's bargain is that you will have greater effect. You will find more information. However, I am going to start a new clock, and it's going to have 4 segments in it, and the clock is just called Lord Skurlock is waiting. Because somebody has not gone to a meeting and has been avoiding it this whole time.
Is ignoring any and all duties, responsibilities, consequences, anything bad. I think this is actually a clever trick, guys. You just ignore the bad things.
If you don't want to deal with something, just ignore it.
You just ignore
Life
it.
Just
hack.
go shopping.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
go
RP
shopping
Geeks
instead.
way. Just
When you
ignore
say
it.
increase the effect, can I find will I find one of the clothes in a charity shop, like the actual ones? Yes.
Yeah,
Then I
absolutely,
buy it,
yeah.
Then I can wear it. Okay, totally worth it.
Do you what? Okay.
I'm
Are
wearing
you sure? Are you wearing it? Great, it's happened. Okay, cool.
What is it? I'm so excited.
All right. So you take the 2 stress. I'm gonna tick 1 on Skurlock is waiting clock.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you spend some time. You're going to these shops, and you're going to some charity shops as well, and you're not finding stuff. And you're asking, are there some weird individuals that might have ducked stuff out, and they're getting some weird looks and whatnot. But no, you don't find anything in the charity shops itself. However, thinking back to what the doll said about the docks, and then you're like, well, maybe around the dock area, like they'd have to be quick to get rid of these clothing. And so you think, well, where would I put clothes? And you go, oh, the bin. And you,
It's always a bin.
Knew that was
It's
coming.
always a bin. Is it a fabric specific bin? Is it one of those like collecting for charity bins, or is it just a normal? Is it a dumpster? Is it a normal bin?
there's a mixture of those. I'm saying, like, although Duskvol is supposed to be a Victorian bin, I like the idea there's a fabric bin for sure.
Yeah.
Why not? They're a bit more ethically conscious, perhaps.
Collecting fabric to make clothes for the workhouse.
Absolutely. Oh, so you go, aha! You open up this horrific bin, and you have rats that pour out of it. There's a couple of shoes and whatnot, and yeah, after a little bit of
Amazing.
scrounging for a couple of hours, I just need to do some googling. And I will give
What
you
is the
some...
most embarrassing item I can have Shamini wear?
No.
Is that what you're googling, Fiona?
No. I'm just trying to work out. Okay. All right.
Picking up an era.
I
She's
am,
googling a decade with a little S on the end, and then the word
don't know what
outfits.
I don't know what you're
Fashion.
talking about. Wait, are you in my room? Firstly, you find like a longish sort of, like, it looks like it's like a shirt, but it's made out of like cotton stuff. It looks like a long sort of sweater, except the sweater itself is stripy. It's got like yellows, oranges, and browns striped across. And you can see, like, it's made out of different panels. So this first panel has lots of stripes, then it's like a yellow down the side, and then presumably a stripe around the back. You also find these like sort of shoes, which are sort of like, again, yellow in kind, a little bit of a heel, but conveniently are your size. You also find like a plaid looking skirt as well, and some high thigh boots as well.
Lad, someone's been in America too long.
Lumberjack skirt. There you go. That's what I
know.
You also find, of course, it would be remiss of me not to mention the collection of hats you also find as well. There's a couple of like flat caps and whatnot that have got holes in it, but there's definitely one which looks wild. It's almost like a boat is what I'd say. Like it's just sort of like got a big rim to it, but it's quite small, so it's very jauntily on the head. It's blue. is this particular hat. And you suspect that what you found is all the different items of clothing. So these people were quite kind of well dressed, as if they were going out to an outing or something like that. And yeah, there's a smell of like water and grist on it as well.
I forgot they'd been like literally
in the docks. Yeah.
Oh no.
So you have to wring them out a little bit, but they look pretty. They look pretty sweet. Mostly block primary colours is what I'd say as well.
I'm feeling 70s. I don't know. I can't quite. Yeah.
You said the dress from the girl that I was saying was black and white.
Mm-hmm. Like a shift dress,
So
with black and white.
Dress.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I'm so excited, and I look great.
So snazzy.
You
Yeah.
definitely look
I
identifiable.
strut away from the fabric bin.
You look
in the sunny
noticeable.
corner of the docks.
Nice and noticeable.
Yeah, but cool. Ow, my shoulder.
That is all the sort of gathering information that you've been able to do so far. Let's go to the engagement roll and the heist. I think what we're going to do, we'll still try and do downtime in this episode a little bit. It might be a little bit shorter because I think you guys have gotten a good idea of what to do. So let's talk about the engagement. As always, we're going to talk about what kind of heist are we feeling? What's the sort of vibe are we going for? So let me tell you, planning an engagement. There are always 6 types of heist we can do. And remember, you have to find at least one of these individuals, these strangers, and bring them to Major Rowan. That is the plan. We've got assault, which is do violence to a target, and the detail I need from you guys is the point of the attack. Deception, which is lure, trick, and manipulate, and I need the detail of your deception. Stealth, trespass unseen, point of infiltration. Occult, engage a supernatural power, the detail is the arcane method. Social, negotiate, bargain, or persuade, the detail is the social connection. And then finally, transport, carry cargo of people through danger, the detail is the route and means. So those are the options to you. Obviously, some of them aren't suitable for this, but I just thought I'd lay them out there. So what are we thinking in terms of our planning heist? What kind of heist are we thinking?
We know quite a lot about these people individually, but what we don't have is any idea where any of them are, correct?
So, what if we lure them in?
Deception?
Yeah, if we know what they are, but we don't know where they are, then get them to come to us for some reason. Maybe we can lure them in with special eyes.
Well, I was going to say, would they come if there was someone wearing weird clothes with black eyes? I don't know.
We don't know
Maybe.
if they're working as a unit or whether they're all kind of disparate individuals.
Yeah.
We also don't know
Looks
what
like-
they want, or whether they're even sort of in control of their own faculties.
We don't have any clue where they would be, do we?
No.
I wonder if
One
the
thing- one thing I will-
ingrates might know like more about where they might have heard reports of like weird people.
Yeah.
So one thing I would
that's
say,
gathering more information, I would
Yeah.
say.
it is kind of, but one thing I would say, because I think it came up a little bit in the conversation with Cuff and Major Rowan, was that the Branch twins insisted like they were getting product from these random places which they connected to the doors. So they at least are predicting when these things appear. So maybe you
Such a
can
good point.
use that to your advantage,
Yeah.
perhaps. Send out a message or something like that. But yeah, equally,
Go
you do
via
have
the
someone
branch twins.
go via the Dranch teams, yeah. They aren't friends of yours. I think it's -2 you have in their status. But also, you do now have a lot of their clothing. So you could just openly walk about in their clothing and see what happens, I guess.
We could.
Yeah.
We could.
My thought was like, what if they know that their friend hasn't made it? How much do they know about that? What if we put like a little posters up with pictures of the eyes that you've taken, Lou, like the eye caps, and we put those pictures in. Was like, we've got your friend, meet us here, and we get them to come to us.
What if we
Flyer the city.
flash back to taking the person's outfit and we dress as that specific person, copy the hairstyle, copy the outfit?
We would have seen them fall from the sky. We could work out which of the clothes were theirs out of that.
Well, yeah,
Still
I
wearing
saw. I knew which one was which. Yeah.
Well, no, the dead person, I mean.
Charming
Yeah,
was
well,
the one that I looked at, I think.
But we
body.
know
Yeah.
which
We know-
one that was, yeah.
We could go.
Yeah, because I
like,
saw their clothes.
The doctor could have stolen their clothes.
I see.
Yeah.
We could
Yeah.
Yes.
do the haircut.
Yeah, because their clothes, the clothes would have been with the autopsy. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Because do they know for sure that she was dead? Hit the water. They were like, "Oh, we better go," but wait for me.
It's-
I'm alive.
They
it this
very
way.
well could all, but what we've got to remember is they very well could all
be dead. Yeah.
The only person, the only one of these that we've interacted with was wearing Roderick's body.
Yeah.
So as far as we are aware, these the things that we can interact with are basically skin suits for something else that we're not sure of.
Yeah.
And the one in the Bluecoats place, office, station,
morgue.
whatever, in the morgue, was currently empty, but we don't know. Like it could have had something in it, and it has since been vacated.
Could have been that it could have been. Yeah.
Or Lydra obviously didn't. Lydra was still Lydra, even though she had black eyes, whereas the Roderick thing was clearly not Roderick.
Yeah, I feel like it's not so simple as... I feel like those are two slightly different things going on.
I think the crux of it, just as a point to it, is that you're right. From what you know about putting these very loose things together, is that maybe it's been 3 days, so maybe they have heard that that body has drowned, but maybe there is something about swapping to different bodies. So having someone dressed in those clothes, I mean, it might be a bit obvious, but at least then they would know, oh, that's the person that came through with us. So one of you could dress up in that clothes and be more obvious in that sort of sense. So it doesn't matter that you don't have the body to pretend. You could just pretend.
Yeah.
I like that plan.
Body
I think that
swapping
makes
or something.
sense.
Yeah. Okay. In that
You've
case,
got to
I
find
think
them. Like
we'll-
finding them is so hard. Is the first really hard
Yeah.
bit. So
Yeah, so I think, yes, Shamini's idea of flashing back and actually me bringing their effects with me.
I'll tie that in with the devil's bargain that you had, because I think you already got a lot of information. I think it makes sense that you go, and I'll take the stuff with me. So so you have all the stuff with you. You have this weird sort of like plasticky tube with the double A cylinders and all that sort of thing. You have the shades and all that sort of thing. So yeah, whoever decides to wear it could wear the shades, have a hat on, all the sorts of things.
I ain't wearing that scandalous dress. Like that's too short.
I don't think Ware probably has the body type to get away with this dress.
Well, I didn't say that. I'm very modest.
I mean, I am a doll. If you wanted to dress me up.
I'm
I
shocked
love-
and horrified, but
Lou likes
I
that.
quite like the
Yeah.
dress.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well then you have to wear it if you like it.
There's a
Sometimes the
weird
doll's
sort
eyes
of
go all
like
weird coloured. It's
it's true.
basically the same.
Yes.
It's that sort of weird thing you see in every sort of coming of age film where the doll comes out in various outfits that you guys picked up, and you're like,
Yes.
no. The hat comes on.
We're
looks
all
away 'cause it's-
sat having a glass of wine, and she comes out the changing rooms, and we're like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. So the method of deception that we've got down is that the doll is going to pretend to be one of them. You're right. We don't necessarily know where they would be, but I think you can make a good guess about stuff. They're by the docks, so it's only been 3 days. It might not have moved far from the dock area, so maybe you'd want to walk around there. Equally, you've got information about. You can get information via Major Rowan to find out where these doors might be appearing, like again using that lean on the Branch twins perhaps as well. But so there are ways to find out where they could be, but equally you could just walk around the docks late at night in a very scandalous thing and see what comes to light. I guess there's that as well.
I think we should start off wandering around looking dramatic. I think in as many of the outfits as we can.
As many of the outfits as we can.
Well,
We all take an outfit.
Sounds good.
So we're all dressing up.
But we've got you in the one that we really want them to zone in on.
Is it not weird if they see their clothes?
That's a good point.
Is it not weird if they see her clothes? What I'm not clear about is, are we pretending that their friend who drowned didn't actually drown? They're fine. It's them in the same body and the same outfit.
It's a different body. So remember, this is again. I appreciate you weren't here to the end of the last episode. It was, I guess, the clear thing is that whatever is coming through the door can jump bodies and can use undead bodies and stuff like that. So maybe this body that had been found in the docks died, but their friend was able to jump to something else
and take the
so
clothes.
that's
Like the
The clothes have nothing to do with it, yeah. So we don't need to worry about the clothes at all.
The clothes are just to grab their attention.
Yeah.
In which case we could all wear the clothes because what we're looking for is someone who goes,
that makes sense. Yeah.
I know that.
How about this? How about this? Glasses. We've got the glasses instead, the shades. Because that, there's shades that the doctor pulled. So it's not the dress or anything like that, but it's the actual shades that you could wear those instead. Because that's not changing up outfits. That's just changing up like an accessory.
Just something to make them think that we're one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily the fifth person, because...
it doesn't have to be the
because they might not know that other people might have come
Someone.
through the door, and there could be a whole lot going on. Like
that's what I'm thinking. Modern weirdly dressed people are coming through doors.
we've only got
We're
one
them
pair of
too.
sunglasses, so
And
Have you got a spell or
hat,
not a
like
spell, like but
these
some
little
sort of ritual
bits.
that could make your eyes go black?
my eyes are black.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
They are solid black. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So maybe someone else should have the sunglasses.
No, I think you should. I don't know. I think you're going to be the more convincing if they try and look beyond the glasses.
The doll looks weird, so it probably works. But then someone else could have the sunglasses, and we could be two.
Two.
That's the only thing.
That's a good point.
And is the plan to
how
just
about
sort of
this?
wander around and hope that they come over?
Yeah,
And
just
then
look
tell
for
me
someone
everything.
who looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, great, yeah,
We
let's do
just
that.
need to find them, right? Ugh, this is a terrible plan.
We'll just walk around the docks. It'll be
Hoist the
brilliant.
dress on
Shall we split up
on a
again?
pole and wave it like a flag. Be like, hey.
Yeah.
We could have
We're
you
here.
guys doing that, and we go try and ask the Branch twins who was telling them where the doors were.
That's a nice idea.
When we
know
split
what
up
we
last
make
time,
of
it went really
Nothing
well.
went
go really
wrong,
well,
yeah,
we
so
should.
that makes
So
sense.
we should do that.
We should always
in these
yeah.
exact
do
teams,
that.
yeah.
I think we
I
should
was going to say, we've always split up in the same teams. It's always gone great.
Yeah.
I am up for that though. I think that sounds good. I think like getting some more info on it because they could also turn up there if doors or we might end up coinciding in the same place.
Someone
you know?
knowing where the doors are going to appear, like what the heck? Who is that?
Yeah.
Do they all
Knowing
know
that
this?
would be
Like,
key, yeah.
ooh.
Can I make a
what I
slight
say-
counter suggestion to these teams?
Mm-hmm.
I think that it might be a good idea to put Ware with the doll, just because Ware is stacked in kind of resolve skills.
I'm massively stacked in resolve skills.
Okay.
I've got loads. She can
How about,
chat.
how about this? How about this to ease off the splitting up the parties again? Because I know people maybe have traumatic experience from last time.
We're fine to do it.
Cuff hasn't been able to do a gather information run, so maybe you could, again, and this is me thinking, like Major Rowan has indicated that so maybe you could ask Major Rowan to get information from the Branch twins and use that and sort of use your pressure on that. And I think that would just be more stress in that sense.
Yeah.
I just think that.
Good.
I think because that makes sense because he has indicated that that's where he got this information and that's how he connected you guys to the Branch twins. So it'd make more sense that again maybe a day or so goes by and you get like a knock at the door and the individual that has the ponytail sort of hands over like a little file and you can see in very broken sort of handwriting like a list of street names and times which you can then predict because a couple of the street names seem to do repeat every a couple of pages, so you can work out what the next like fracture might be.
Bit of the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Brilliant. So we've
let's
got the
do
fractured
that,
street names.
yeah.
It makes sense then for us to start there on our heist and kind of because that's the kind of place maybe they're looking for more of.
Sure.
More of
Just
these
take 2
people.
stress for me for that. If
Yeah.
that's okay, Cuff. Yeah.
You got it.
Perfect. That's all right. Cool. So, someone is dressing up. Many people are dressing up. I don't know, but you're going to be towards one of these fractures that has been predicted to come. That's where we're going to start the heist. And is the idea to like pretend to come out of one of these fractures or meet the people coming out? Like what's the sort of vibe are we thinking?
I feel like it's stealth, isn't it? So we're hiding and watching who comes out, and then maybe following them, seeing where they're going, what they're doing.
Yeah.
Rather than like being like, hey,
Maybe
we just
jumping
came out a door, because we're immediately not
yeah.
going to know anything and we're going to look like idiots.
We immediately
Perfect.
go. It would be good at some point to maybe, if we can, because what the major wants one of them, doesn't it? So at some point we might have to snatch.
Yeah.
He wanted
I'm
one
very
five.
good at fighting, so
Yeah.
I can always
Are you?
punch him.
Cool.
Cuff can do a
Yeah.
punch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we go. So
Cool.
stealth
Can do a punch.
Trespass unseen, the details the point of infiltration, which would be one of these fractures appears,
Mm-hmm.
and then a couple of you like join. If it's people come out, you join with them and like and go along to wherever they're going. That's sort of the plan. You're just infiltrating in that group going through.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Is that the
So
plan?
okay, so where you're stealthy, right? So maybe you don't dress up and you can follow sneakily. I look weird anyway, so maybe can just go with them without like attracting suspicion, and then maybe someone else puts the sunglasses on and is able to follow as well, and someone else does sneaky too.
What would
I mean,
what
yeah.
would sneaky be?
Finesse,
Finesse.
maybe,
Finesse,
or
yeah.
prowl.
I have nothing in either of them.
I've got
Prowl.
one in finesse.
Yeah.
Nothing in prowl.
Remember, you can always roll if you don't have something in it. It just means you have to roll 2 and take
Oh,
the
yeah.
lower. That's
I
all it
think
is.
it might not be a bad shout to put. I know we're defaulting into the same teams again, but I think it might not be a bad idea to put Cuff with the doll in case, because I think that's the position of the greatest danger, isn't it? Literally in the midst of them, with them, and if something happens and shit goes down and you need to fight your way out or smash and grab one or whatever else, I think it makes sense to have Cuff.
Yes, I'm
In the
not.
mix.
Prowess is not the dolls.
It would be. I would say its prowl is what for traversing skillfully and quietly.
Yeah, but
finesse
just
is
in
more
general.
dextric. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, seeing as Holly and I are equally non-stealthy, I think rather than us thinking about who's the best stealth, we'll think
Yeah.
about who's the best to put in the group, and that probably would be Cuff.
And I think Cuff and the doll would make sense from their relationship as well that Cuff would go with the doll. So.
We'd want to protect.
Yeah. If the doll's going, I'd want to go to make sure that they were going to be okay.
And we might not even go, right? Like it might be that something else happens and we don't
Yeah.
do
no
that
one turns
bit.
up.
But yeah.
Sure. Okay, so we definitely know like the doll and Cuff are there. What about the doctor and where are you guys further back? As like what's your sort of vibe? Just trying to put people together before we do the engagement roll. Where are you guys?
Well, my skills lie in kind of study, so I think I'm going to be in a position where of overlooking. I don't know if it's able to get into a building. Or onto a building, or onto a fire escape, or something
on
of
a
building
roof, yeah,
that's
absolutely.
nearby, just so I can watch proceedings without being seen.
Yeah.
And then either I think probably it makes sense for Ware and I to be. It doesn't make sense for us to split up further by having Ware somewhere else, unless you've got a particular thing that you think is sensible.
Well, I
Shamini.
want to be able to follow them, so I don't want to be. As long as there is a pathway.
Okay.
Like as long as.
Yeah,
we
I think like you can always
follow.
you can be on the roof following them from up above. You could be on like the next street or something like that. Like easily you can find ways to navigate towards them there. You would have probably worked out like your options beforehand a couple of hours before. Cool. All right, well, let's do this engagement roll then. Cuff, I'm gonna get you to roll this one for me, please. So it's a d6 to start, and let's do. Where's my notes?
We always use Holly's fingers.
Use Holly's fingers.
Today we use
All
my
right.
dice.
Ooh,
Dice. Okay.
Oh, shiny.
Shiny.
Also, before we start as well, make sure you pick your loadout as well. Remember, we've got 2 types of loadout. There is discreet, which is 4 slots, and then conspicuous, which is 6. And the 6th one means you can carry heavy items, but you will not be able to run and jump and do all. Oh, swim is the one that came up as well. All right.
Ooh.
Engagement roll. We've got a d6 anyway to start. Is this operation particularly bold or daring? Don't think so necessarily. You're
Being relatively cautious.
I think you're
Yeah,
cautious.
I'd
You've
say
got
so.
you've got a disguise. It's all good.
Walking in the street.
Is this operation overly complex or contingent on many factors? don't think so either, really. I think it's fairly straightforward. You're tailing some people. Does this plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where it is weakest? I'm going to say yes, because they, there's going to be a group of you that's going to appear to be like them if they come out of this thing. Like, you're disguised as them, and they have no way to tell that you're aware of that. Oh, you're not one of them off a quick glance. So I think this is good. So yeah, that's 2d6 so far. Is the target strongest against this approach, or do they have particular defenses or special preparations? No, I don't think so. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation? I'm going to say yes, you've used...
You already have.
You've got that, so that's another d6 on there. Are there any enemies or rivals interfering with this operation? No, don't think so, off the top of my head. Any other elements
that we know of.
you want to consider? Not that you know of, yeah, absolutely. Any other elements I want you to consider?
I mean, the fact that we have not just fake stuff, but actually real stuff is, we're not like wearing a weird glamour to make it seem like whatever else it is. We've got their actual clothes and actual.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. Okay. I think so. In total, I believe you're rolling 3d6. And yeah, let me know the highest.
All
we'll
right.
See what result you're in, what position you're in before the heist starts. Best of luck.
Highest is a 5.
Nice. Okay, so it's it's a mixed result. You're in a risky position when the action starts. So let us go. Let us go then to this particular scene. So I think this makes sense for the doll and Cuff. Like where you are, you're probably hidden behind. We love bins, don't we? You're hidden behind some bins, and you have predicted again
people.
You're binned people. You're not in a bin. You're next to a bin. In this particular street, the way you sort of timed it, maybe you've given it a day or two as well. Because one thing you would have gained is that these fractures, these appearances of things, they are getting more frequent. And so you make it so that the door that the fracture that you're trying to pinpoint is not in a cul-de-sac, not at a dead end or anything like that. So you can easily like pop in and pop out. And so you look around the corner, and then one of you has a pocket watch, and you're sort of checking out, and it sort of ticks to the hour, and then you look, and there's just a door. It just appears there. It is a door. It's a very interesting sort of door. You see like the door frame, but it looks to be like almost like a curtain over the top of it, like a very sort of like silky blue with like a little bit of like sparkles on it, sort of thing, and it's sort of gently wafting in the breeze a little bit, but it definitely wasn't there before. And you can see as it sort of is standing there, there's a little bit of smoke and fog sort of coming out of it. And this again, Cuff, will remind you of like what Lydra was sort of saying to you, that this door just suddenly appeared as if like a street magician had just made it appear. A couple of minutes go by, and then we sort of go up to the top where we see the good doctor, and we see Ware sort of looking down a little bit. And maybe you guys didn't look, you looked down and you just saw it. It just appeared. There was nobody came in or out. It just happened to be there. And you give it a couple of minutes. And then the curtain shifts slightly. And out comes an individual, like sort of like sprawls and falls down, and sort of like gets up. And you can see that they are an individual that is seems to have like a suit on. Looks very, very like sharp. Like you can tell as soon as they hit the cobbles and slowly sort of get up and dust themselves down, is that the suit jacket has ripped slightly because it was such a tight suit, really sort of to the wrist as well. And they sort of look, and they've got like a small pencil moustache and a bowler hat on, and they sort of like, and they grab up. They seem to have in their hand what looks like to be like an umbrella of some sort, and then sort of like look back, and then a couple of other individuals start to fall through. Again, similar sort of wear and garb that they have on. A lot of it seems to be like, again, different sort of individuals. So you've got like people with like long, black, almost like leather sort of coats, sort of like, and then their hair in all sort of ways, like sort of spiked up a little bit. You see somebody in what looks like rollers in their hair, wearing like a dressing gown of some sort, like a house coat. About 2 or 3 more people join this individual. So about 4 people there as they sort of like, again, same thing. They just fall almost like flat on their face a little bit, and the others sort of help them up and like dust them down a little bit. But yeah, 3 or 4 people come through the door, and I'd say that they're coming away from you, so not like in front of you. What do you guys do?
From our vantage point, do we see anything through the door?
Not from your vantage point, no. And the same for the people on the ground as well. It's almost as if they suddenly go, ugh, and they just appear.
And they're just walking away.
Yeah, dusting themselves down. They're sort of getting their feet. One of them looks very shaky. So it looks like an elderly individual. They seem to have like slippers on or something like that, and they're just like sort of like shaking themselves a little bit, and they're just making sure that they're okay. But yeah, once they take a couple of steps.
Do they look like they know each other? Are they sort of like looking at each other with any kind of like familiarity?
I'd say not familiarity, but they seem to like go and comfort, like, you know, help each other up, as if like, not that they go, oh, Sandra, or anything like that, but they just like, get the other person up and stuff
And
like
they're
that.
not speaking.
So it doesn't look like they're speaking to each other, no.
Okay. I will sort of look at Cuff, and I will just sort of shrug. And once I think there's no more people coming through the door, and they're walking away, I will just follow, and I will just try and tag on behind.
Yeah, I will. I'll come with you. I think I would do whatever the doll is feeling comfortable with, because I do not want to push the doll here at all.
And yeah, I won't say anything unless I hear them start talking. So
Absolutely. So just so I've got it, so obviously the doll is sort of closest. Cuff, are you right next to the doll, or are you a little bit further
maybe
back?
just like a couple of feet behind, like not far behind at all.
Okay. The doll, I would love for you to do me a prowl check, please. As you are sort of sneaking behind them, prowl, trying to traverse carefully by this group who are starting to walk, not with purpose, but they're taking their time, like slowly sort of going somewhere. It looks like they know where they're going as well.
I've got nothing in prowl.
So you're going to take 2 and take the lowest. The consequence, if you fail this roll, is that someone is going to turn around and spot you.
I'm not against them spotting me. I'm sort of trying to be one of them. So
yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
They knew how many people came through the door, though. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's why I was asking if they had sort of. No, yeah, okay, fine.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's a 3. So yeah.
Okay, it is a fail. You sort of start to patrol behind them. You kick like a piece of rubbish or a can or something like that, and the group stops as one. And the person furthest back, let's say it's the individual with rollers and the house coat, sort of turns suddenly and just locks eyes with you, and just looks at you, and you can see that their face, they've got the sort of like eyes. They look like they've got the sort of the what you would know as the sort of the plastic covers of the eyes on it.
Okay, I'll just stare back.
What are you doing?
Sorry, Emily has to take a moment. Following.
Where are your covers?
Covers? For our eyes?
Did you lose them?
Cuff is wearing the sunglasses, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, it's just me, yeah. So. Yes, they fell off.
Oh dear. Maybe we can get them replaced for you.
That would be great, thank you.
Hop along.
And they hold out their hand to sort of like for you to grab.
I'll take it.
She's doing it.
Okay. Their hand is cold, freezing cold, and they just grasp around you like a elderly woman that grabs your hand tight, and they sort of look to you and goes,
Come, it's almost time.
Yeah, I hate it. I
Okay.
hate it.
Oh my god!
Are they all wearing sunglasses?
no, but they have the
They got
plasticky
the
sort of like
plastic covers.
covers.
Oh, I was
over their
hoping my
eyes.
eyes would be enough to do that, but that's fine. Okay.
Kath, you would have heard this a little bit. Maybe you stopped before, like, again, their focus was on the individual behind them. And similarly, both the doctor and Ware, you saw this interaction happen, but you were sort of a little bit further up. But you managed to keep pace so far. what do you guys do?
I'm going to just keep following closely.
I'm just gonna stay.
Like so that if I needed to, I could just jump in at any point. So they might be able to see me, but yeah, I wouldn't leave.
Okay. Where, Doctor? Anything?
We want to see where they're going, don't we? So
absolutely.
I think we're following at as basically as big a distance as we can make it, whilst without losing them.
Okay. I think for all of you, let's do. Yeah, we'll all do our individual prowl checks, if that's okay.
Wonderful.
I think this makes sense because you're trying to keep pace and not lose. I'd say the consequence for those who don't do well in this is that you're going to lose sight of where the doll is, and that could take form of stress if you want to push yourself later, or maybe you even hurt yourself perhaps if you're trying to you fall or something like that. But the main consequence is that the doll will be separated from the group. So let's do the prowl check for me, please.
Okay.
Don't fuck it up, guys.
Well, I'm rolling 2 and I haven't got anything in the stats. So
Yeah, me
we'll
either.
see.
Yeah, me neither.
Yay. Where? Stay with me.
We did not build sneaky characters.
Oh no.
1-6.
Well, I did roll a 6,
Hooray.
but
All right, so
I also rolled a 2.
That's good. All right, so sorry. So where you rolling 1 die? Sorry, you got a 6.
I was rolling 3.
3 die, and you got the highest was a 6.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So yeah, you are keeping track. Yeah, you are like suddenly locked onto this, and yeah, it's almost like you are one with the darkness a little bit. You are sort of like fading in and out, and that the Doctor's having a hard time keeping an eye on you because you're just again going back to that sort of light-fingered burglary that you were doing earlier. That's how you get through. You use the environment to your ability, so you keep pace. The other two, was it 2 dice and taking the lower? What did you get?
I got a 6 and a 1.
I got a 6
See,
and a 2.
Everyone got a 6, Fiona.
6.
Since we didn't get any 6s last session,
Right,
yes.
yeah, we're
not
average-
now.
Not in the
I
disadvantaged
didn't need
ones,
them
yeah.
now. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what I would say is that the consequence is that both the Doctor and Cuff will lose sight of the doll, and will be separated as a result. However, remember we have this thing called pushing yourself, whereby you can reduce that consequence, so it will just in terms of stress as well. So for this, I can't remember off the top of my head what prowl is in, because someone got to tell me on the character sheet what's the section.
It's prowess.
It's on the middle bit, it's in prowess, yeah.
Prowess. Okay, so in order to push yourself, you would roll how many dots you have in prowess before the line, and then that will determine how much stress you take instead of that consequence of being separated. Now, you can do that, or you might want to be separated. I'm just going to leave that up to your choice.
I know Cuff would definitely not want to be separated, so I think I would roll for it. I have 3 in prowess, so I'm going to roll 3.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Just not in finesse and prowl. I'm all about skirmishing and wrecking, baby. Let's see.
Baby.
2 4s and a 1.
4 is good. Let me give you your stress. Sorry, I had it to hand and then it disappeared on me. Push yourself. 4, you take 2 stress.
Okay.
So there's a moment where you're sort of like, you're shit, and you were desperately trying to get to where, and you just pass around a couple of corners again as quick as you can. They're slightly winded, and so that stress of suddenly losing your friend after that conversation you had earlier, and then you just catch sight of them as they're going around another corner in the sort of the gaslight, and so yeah, you follow them. So yeah, you're able to catch up, but you take 2 stress as a result. Yeah. The Doctor, do you want to do the same thing, or are you happy to be separated?
I will. I think as I'm trying to sort of keep to the shadows, to try and sort of keep wearing my sights, and I think maybe I'll snag my coat or something on, which kind of stops me, and Ware doesn't notice and kind of works out, and I'm going to see if I can get my coat unhooked in time to see where the
sounds great
or not.
Yeah.
And that's 2 3s.
Okay, you take 3 stress. So in the end, you just tear your coat. You manage to catch up against. Suddenly, you see. Again, I know we've not said that Ware is wearing one of the hats that they gained earlier, but I like the idea that you do spot them in like the moonlight. You're like, aha, and you sort of like make your way.
No one else
across
has a hat that dumb.
Yeah, exactly. The doll, you are taken down some alleys and streets, and places that you've never been to yourself. You don't again, presumably you don't say anything, the individual holds your hand quite tightly, and their cold really seeps into you. Is there anything that you're doing before you get to your sort of destination with this group of strangers?
Keeping a very close eye on exactly where we're going and any sort of ways they're opening any doors or going through. If there's like any secret codes or anything like that they're doing that I can like observe.
Sure. Yeah, this will be it's survey. You do a survey for me, please.
That is a 1.
The one. Yeah, I was gonna say the consequence of this. I'm just gonna say you don't get any information.
Sure,
you're in a risky standard
scared.
situation at this point. You're scared, and so you're just like sort of keeping an eye on stuff. And so yeah, you don't know recognize. So you yourself get lost, but you have your confidence that your friends have you there. You end up at the edge of the docks themselves, the docklands themselves, and yeah, single file these individuals go, and the person still hasn't let go of your hand as they get to the door, and the you see as the sort of person in the very tight sort of like pinstripe suit sort of knocks on the door. The door sort of like a slab opens, and the person goes, sort of nods, lifts up their eye, takes out the eyepiece sort of like a little bit, and then puts it back, and they're admitted entrance. And the same thing happens to the next person and the next person. And when it gets to the individual with the rollers, they take a moment and bring you in line with them. And as the door opens, you can see, again, it's more of a shadow, a silhouetted sort of individual with light behind them. And the woman with the rollers says,
We've lost their
covers, so they're with us.
The individual sort of indicates for the person to show their own, and they do. And there's a sort of like a gruff sort of nod, and the thing goes back, and the door opens for you both to go in.
Okay.
Great idea. See, it worked. The plan is working.
It's working.
Perfect.
Weird eyes work.
Holly
Let's go.
looks so unhappy.
All three of you from your various positions see the doll enter this sort of warehouse of light, and then the door shuts behind them.
Okay, all right then. Okay, I need into that building.
Okay, calm down, Guff.
Oh, I'm gonna look for entrances.
Yeah, I'd say for this, yeah, you are feeling quite like, oh god, this is not great. So this is going to be a desperate roll at this point. As to mark that XP. You're looking stuff. This is going to be. How are you looking? Are you just like literally looking around? Are you just trying to open doors? Like, what are you feeling at this
I
point?
reckon I'm feeling a bit frustrated and probably pulling at bits of the building. I'm like, there must be a secret entrance in it somewhere, and I'm like just pulling at like planks and stuff and
planks. Cool. This feels like. This is what I'm going to suggest to you, but like, you feel free to argue with it. Like a tinker check. You're like trying to fiddle with things and trying to like open things up. You could also use wreck as well if you want to just unleash savage force. It's a little bit different, perhaps.
yeah, maybe wreck. It feels very
maybe
cuff.
wreck.
Yeah, okay. Holly, do you want to wreck or tinker?
I mean, I could tinker. I've got a skill,
isn't it, for you?
Yeah, but wrecking is what she would do for sure.
Okay, so you're gonna use wreck.
Yeesh.
It's a desperate outcome. If you do not get a 6 on this, you will succeed in breaking through, but they will know you are here.
That's fine. I got my sunglasses. It'll work.
Okay,
it's alright. This is going to be a 6. It's going to be a 6. I'm even going to do it like this so you guys can see.
God. Oh, close. It was a 5.
It's a 5, which is nearly a 6, Fiona.
It's
Nearly a 6.
Yeah, close to being a 6, Fiona.
Help in this case, but
it is. Yeah, sadly that. Yeah, so yeah, both the doc and Ware can see suddenly Cuff going like no, and you see Cuff sort of dash round aside and manage to pry open like one of these other doors, making a whole lot of noise as a result. Is there anything that the doc and Ware are doing at this point?
I was thinking we might find a quieter way in. Doc.
Yeah, that would. I mean, do we need to kind of extract Cuff?
I'd say
Cuff's already done their bit.
Cuff's gone.
Cavs kind of got their own methods
they are
going on.
just, she's gonna have to deal with it, isn't she? To be honest, I'm going to look for a roof exit. That it will be more of a lock picking situation than a charging through. What I'm really imagining Cuff has just done is like the door's gone inside and Cuff's like charged at the wall and left like a cuff-shaped hole in the wall of the building.
Very, very, very similar to that. I think you can easily make your way over to the actual roof of the thing, and you can see like a skylight. This feels like a finesse sort of roll as you're sort of like quickly doing some dexterous sort of things. Yeah, so I think this makes sense. It's not a desperate situation. You've got your sort of you're used to sort of breaking in these sort of ways, sneaky like. But as always, I will offer you a devil's bargain. And the devil's bargain is that you can get in. No one will notice you'll get in. However, the window will shut behind you both if you're both going in there. You will not be able to get out that way.
I don't even need a devil's bargain, but then you make them so fun. I'm like, well, obviously I want that, so...
You could probably... I'm sure you must have like a burglary kit or something in your items.
Well, I do, but I don't need one now, because she's just devil's bargaining at me in tempting ways.
You can still use things to make sure that devil bargain goes through.
What do I need to do?
I'm not sure it's the best idea for me to go in with you.
So it'd be a finesse roll, whatever you got in finesse. And then basically, what I'm saying is that
does the devil's bargain give me an extra die?
No, it will give you. It will give you an extra die. What I'm saying is like, because currently you don't know what your result is going to be. If you get like a full result, then that's great. You get in, but I think the idea is that you're going to get in. The mixed result is that people will hit you. Is what I'm going to try to say to you. So what I'm saying with the devil bargain is that you get the extra die. Yeah. People won't know you get in, but you can't be able to get out. That is what
that sounds
I'm trying
good.
to get to.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Roll those 3d6.
I'm gonna also use another load slot.
Yes.
To say I'm using my lockpicks. I was assuming it was locked. Is it locked?
Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah. Go for it.
Which is 4. So
4 now. Yeah.
Come on,
yeah, let us know the highest.
4. It was 3 4s.
That is unfortunate. You can always, no, you would get in. Yeah, well, because you took the devil's bargain, so yeah, you still sort of get in. What I'd say is you take a level of stress as well, because of that sort of failure. And the door and is the doctor going with you? Sorry, or not?
I don't know.
You see the window start to shut behind where goes, come on, Doc, and the window just shuts behind, locked.
Go wrong.
I just think that possibly having someone on the outside is not a bad idea. And I'm not very good at sneaking around places and going unnoticed, so I'm not sure it's a very good idea for me to try and sneak around inside. I've already failed at sneaking once.
It's true. Maybe more.
Having an exit plan might not be the worst idea.
Yeah, having someone outside who can like help if we need to get out isn't awful. So
it's not the end of the world. The doll. You are sort of taken down a number of stairs into an area underneath this sort of big warehouse. This person's still gripping your hand quite tightly. And as you sort of get down to this place, you see, like a big sort of like basement type area filled with hundreds and hundreds of people standing stock still, like just neutral mannequin-like looking. You are sort of taken again with this person. You can see this an individual without the covers over their eyes, sort of indicating to places to go and all that. And you're sort of led to almost like a not a pen, but certainly like a section where you're told to wait. And yeah, looking around, you see 200, 300 people in this particular space just now.
Okay.
The person lets go of your hand.
Okay.
They just calmly wait.
I will wait. I will look around a lot and try and take in as much as information as I possibly can.
You sure let's do a survey, shall we? Or a study. What do you think?
Let's do a study. Let's do a study.
Do a study?
Study. I'm studying, not surveying for sure.
Yep. That's fine. It's a
It's a 6. Sorry?
It's a 6. Brilliant. No. I was going to say the
Woo.
consequence of failing was that people would notice that you aren't a part of the group, but you got a 6. That's all good. So yeah, looking around, yeah, you count these individuals and you recognize some of the individuals here from some of those wanted posters, the missing posters, not wanted posters. People have been missing for over the last 6 months. You can see that they're sort of here and they're sort of waiting. And where you are sort of positioned, you can see there is a stage with what looks like to be like a microphone of some sort. And there doesn't seem to be anything else. Like, again, it's almost like people are still coming in. And you sort of look around, and what you can gather from that 6 is that everyone's here waiting for something. Feels like there's about to be a meeting or a speech of some sort.
Great. Good. I love that for us. I'm going to wait. She's not going to do anything extreme.
Mm-hmm. The silence that sort of comes over the whole crowd indicates that something is about to sort of happen, and you see walking down the lines of what looks to be like an individual with sort of like very, I don't want to say coiffed hair, but looks like somebody that isn't like it isn't wearing the strange garb that everyone else is just now. You can see they look like they are dressed in very high-ranking nobility like outfits and clothing, with a cane. Their sort of skin is sort of shining a little bit as they go up onto the stage. And they turn around, and I don't know how much you would know of this individual personally speaking, but for the players, I will give this information that the person on stage is Lord Skurlock.
Yup.
Oh no!
Gross. Horrible.
Hate that. I hate that for everyone.
Mm-mm.
He puts down his sort of cane into the thing and it leaves it sort of freestanding. And he comes up to sort of this microphone, and he takes a moment to just survey the individuals here, like the crowd of people. And he goes, "My brothers, sisters, and friends, you have made it. The first stage of our plan has come to fruition. I feel there is enough of us now for us to really strike at the heart of the Emperor itself. The plan has moved ahead slightly with a few snags and pieces. Unfortunately, not all are accounted for, but I am sure that when they arrive, we can go. My lieutenant has not arrived yet. When the time comes, brothers, sisters, brethren, remember, we take what is ours, and that this world belongs to us. You will know the signal when it happens. In the meantime, keep underground, keep quiet. Most importantly, don't forget to smile. It unnerves people." And he sort of finishes it off, and he sort of like puts his hand over his chest and goes, "For blue time, everywhere." And everyone else puts their hand over their chest and says, "For blue time, everywhere."
Follows. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. There's almost a moment, and you're like, no.
She absolutely is keyed into how cults work, and is absolutely willing to follow.
When the doll was looking around and looking at people, is Sugar there?
Or is Sugar the lieutenant who hasn't arrived?
Sugar doesn't seem to be there. From a quick look around. There's a crash at the back of the room.
What?
As
who could that possibly be?
As Cuff, you sort of have barreled your way down to these steps.
Oh.
And you're greeted with hundreds of people suddenly turning in
Just
unison.
turn. I'm like,
to
what are
look
you
at you.
doing?
Oh. Wow.
You see this individual at the front.
How do you fancy a fight with 200 people?
You see
Please
the
run.
individual at the front, this Lord Skurlock, go, "A visitor. Get them." And you just see
All right.
all these people starting to walk towards you.
I will also run towards Cuff. I will sort of try
Okay.
and make it like I'm going for Cuff as
Sure.
well.
Okay. Yeah. Get out the character
Okay,
sheet.
shit, come on.
Have you got
Right,
that?
what have you got?
Kill 200 people
Kill
all at
200
once.
people?
I think
Special
it's time
skill,
for a flashback. I think it's probably
Yeah.
time for a flashback.
Is it now? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I am discreetly loaded.
Yeah.
Because I'm going on a stealth mission. Of course, I'm not going to be conspicuously loaded. You know those like spikes that like the police lay down the road when they're trying to stop a car.
Like little cow drops.
Yes. What do we think that would be? 'Cause do we think I could fit those somewhere?
Yeah, they're not big. Yeah.
Get a bag of them.
Describe what you're doing. Describe
Coat
what you're
pocket?
doing, and then we'll come up with it.
What I'm gonna do is I'm going to see that that all of the people are running towards me, and I'm gonna go, oh, that's so great that they're doing that. I prepared for a huge amount of people. I'm so glad that before I left, flashback.
Flashback. Yep.
After the doll had said that they were willing to essentially pretend to be one of these people, I had a real kind of worry in my stomach of it's like following like a bee into a hive, right? And they, you know, if you're successful, it means you find a whole lot of bees. And I wanted something to be able to deal with a huge amount of people if I had to, not to be able to take them out, but just to be able to slow them down if it meant getting me and the doll out. And I realised that back from my past, which we don't know what that past was. It could be anything.
We don't talk about it. Yeah,
we don't talk about it at all.
Never come up.
Occasionally we would have to have these kind of springs that we would be given in our units, especially in the military police, which I don't know anything about, especially in the military police, in order to slow down like large ranks of soldiers and vehicles. And essentially it's like a kind of like a section of spikes that would trip people up and basically just take out the first wave.
Oh, and in the flashback, you'd have told the doll about that, so the doll would know not to run directly towards you, like their first instinct was at that moment.
Yeah. Yes. I think I'd have probably explained to you, maybe as we were waiting, maybe this is another flashback. While we were waiting, oh, by the way, I don't know if you've ever seen anything that the Blackcoats used to do. They generally do it quite far away from here. The Bluecoats are more common here. But there's a little device that if ever you're in a place where there's a stampede, be careful that you don't lose control of when to stop.
Right. Okay.
Because you might trip.
So the doll will have started running towards Cuff and then remember, don't be in a stampede, and being like, I'll just check I can stop and we'll hold back. I think taking Cuff's advice.
I'll take that hint. Okay. I think for this, I'm going to, Cuff, I'm going to, that flashback, re-stress for me, please. You will have that thing on you, but we're going to still have to roll for it.
Yes.
Because it's pretty think. Let me think. What are you trying to do? You're trying to stop people from coming towards you.
Yeah.
It's not unless I don't think it's wreck unless you give me a good justification for it. I do think it's tinker, perhaps, because you're trying to get this thing out of the way. I think it is a desperate situation.
Yeah.
Because you've got these people running towards you, so it's going to be a 6. I also think
It's going to be two
sixes.
sixes.
It's going to be 2 6s. Sorry, yeah, but it's still got to be a 6. The consequence of this is you will take a level 2 harm of being crushed by these people who are going to then try and grab you and take you towards Skurlock. They will catch you, but you will take a level 2 damage as all these people are just rushing towards you, like a horrific sort of stop motion, coming towards you. Okay?
Makes sense. Oh, it's okay. Rolling 2 6s, I've heard, is really easy. Oh, God. Here we go.
I
It's
just
two
hate the fact you
sixes.
hold it up.
It's two sixes.
No, there's a 1 and a 4.
It's one and four. Oh, shocker.
Kind of like two sixes.
It looks like
I can
two
see the
sixes to
six. I
me.
can see the 6 through that
yeah,
one
On the
die.
other side. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Oh yeah, unfortunately, it's been a long time since I used one of these. I mean,
Sure.
I've never used one, but it's been a long time since I
No.
saw somebody use one on me.
On you, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
So
dear.
you bring out this thing, and the first couple of people like
push yourself,
like stop it. You
I
can
don't know.
push yourself if you can. You
Oh
push
yeah,
yourself
I'd like
into
to
the-
push myself if I
All right.
can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. Thank you.
it's all good. No, it's all good. So how many
It
dots
just
do
seems
you
like the
have
consequences
in?
are probably quite bad.
Mhm.
In
Wherever the wreck is, what have you got in that area?
in rec
No, so
or in,
that
in,
area
in
it's
Tinker.
In prowess, which is
In
3.
prowess, I have 3.
Yeah. Okay. Roll the 3 for me, please, and that will indicate how many. 6 is good.
I'm gonna be
Come on,
so
Holly.
stressed. I'm gonna be so stressed. I might even gain trauma. Let's have a look. 3 dice.
Probably justified.
So
I got a
6
4,
Holly.
a 5, and a 6.
and 6.
Yay!
So you don't get. I'm going to reduce the consequence. You do not get the level 2 harm of being crushed, but you are surrounded by these people, so they have got you. So you do not take that damage, and you do not take any stress because you pushed yourself. So well done on that front. But they have got you. I'm still going to give you to that. Where I'm going to say that you have made it through, maybe you're like on some sort of beams up ahead. Like I know I said this was like the basement area, but maybe you see through some floorboards this absolute chaos that's happening. Doctor, you can hear lots of shouting and yelling from coming inside the basement. There's this area as well. I'm just going to check with you guys. Is there anything that you guys would be doing, knowing that your 2 colleagues are in this warehouse, which with what sounds like hundreds of people?
What's happening?
Mhm.
Or
Well,
through the cracks.
What are you doing?
They're in a
You're
basement,
inside
right?
where?
So we can't see.
Where
On
it's
the
looking through like
outside.
a hole in the ground. I'm going to say so. You are in the scene. The doctor is not currently no,
Yeah.
but you can
I can
hear the
hear
shouts
this
and yells.
commotion.
I'm not doing anything at the
Mhm.
moment. I'm
Okay.
watching. I'm trying to observe, and if I can't see clearly, I'm trying to get somewhere where I can see better.
I will run
Okay, fair
towards
enough.
where Cuff is after.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine. So yeah, you can see that Cuff is being like held together by these puss of people, like again, these people from all different walks of life. And Skurlock goes, "Oh dear, an intruder. Well, I best move that plan ahead." And he goes to his cane, pulls it up, and presses a button on it, which flicks up. And he just goes, "Fire the signal." We move out to the final scene of this end of the heist.
no.
This might not be great, I guess.
Feels bad, guys. Feels bad.
We go back to the Harriers' hideout, where Lydra has been sat quietly. There's a moment where she sort of pauses and looks out of the window, and she suddenly cocks her head a little bit and goes,
Oh, shit. I need to be somewhere. Yes! Fuck!
and she gets up slowly and surely and starts making her way out of the hideout. We go and we see other individuals around town sort of to look up and see, and there's like claims and stuff as we go to a bridge. And on the bridge we see like the form of an individual holding in what looks like her Sunday best, holding up her parasol, as we see the outline of Petra.
Who is fine? Who's
She's
there?
looking up at
Fine.
the Covenant ship high above her. And she just starts to sob a little bit. And none of the passers-by here, although people are trying to tell to get down from the bridge. It's not safe there, my darling. Come here. And she just says, "I'm so sorry." She gets her parasol and just points it to the sky and clicks a button on it. an explosion rips through the whole of the Covenant. We see this huge airship suddenly crumple and break. You hear cries and screams up top as this huge ship starts to fall from the sky into Duskvol. An act of war has been declared. The strangers are here.
That's not our fault.
Guys,
It's definitely not
important
my
thing to
fault.
Remember,
I just don't think we could have been expected to stop all of that. We could have maybe
done a great
slowed
job.
it down.
To be fair, even if we had decided to go for assault and just grabbed those people that you ended up going with
Right.
out of that
We'd have
door
been
and taken them with us,
fucked. Yeah.
which would have satisfied the parameters of the heist, that would have still happened.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we found out more information, and I think that's better.
And I
we
think
should
my
pat ourselves on the
file
back.
might be
Yeah.
gone.
True. True. Yeah.
Win.
Silver
I
lining.
feel like there's bigger things
we've kind
around
of won.
than doing something for the black coats, to be perfectly honest with you. So,
I think we've won Blades in the Dark.
Yay. We don't need a
kick.
final episode. Yeah.
We're
that'll
not
be
the
fine,
heroes of this story. We don't have to fucking save
Yeah,
everyone.
we're not the good guys. Yeah.
We just had to get rid of the file. Tick.
Find out what's going on.
We've
Tick.
definitely found out
I
what's
think we
going
did
on.
very well.
Yeah, well done. Well done, Harriers.
Well done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Successful
I'm so
heist.
proud of us all.
Successful heist.
Good Blades in the Dark.
I think we won actually.
Yeah.
Thank you, Arias, so much for taking part in my little scheme. I will reveal to you now that I have been keeping a clock of basically what the strangers have been up to since episode 1. And I've been
Sure.
filling little segments in of stuff, and various actions have exceeded that clock. And I will say it was an 8 clock. I did just fill it to 10, unfortunately.
Yeah,
for these
but yeah.
various
Makes sense.
Fine.
It makes sense.
Yeah. It would have
Or
been
the
weird if
thing
you hadn't
about
filled it by
that.
the end of the series, so that, it's good that we did it, really.
Well done, us.
Narrative.
again.
Well,
Well done.
yeah!
Welcome.
Well done.
Yay,
us.
narrative!
Yeah.
All right, let's do some outros, folks, and before we go into patrons and whatnot, let's go with our wonderful doctor. Please, Lou, can you tell us
Hello.
where people can find you upon the internet?
People can find me on the internet at I am Lou Fryer, because that is what I am. Lou Fryer.
They are
They
a
am.
new
You can
fryer.
find
They
me
am.
here.
They
They
am
am.
Yeah.
Lou Fryer.
They
Yeah. You can find me on the podcast of Dice and Them. You can find me here in 2 weeks for the finale, and you can find me at UK Games Expo if you're listening to this live. Come say hi. I'm doing the Dungeons and Dummies live show.
Nice.
Holly, please.
I'm very excited about that because I'm also going to be at the UK Games Expo, so I'm going to see Lou in person, which is going to be lovely. That's awesome. And I am Holly, and you can find me at Holly Likes Games or at Holly Likes Games 13 on Twitch. The next Twitch stream I'm doing on there is actually not till the 27th of April, but it's a big one. We're going back to reading the Choose Your Own Adventure Goosebumps with Tom. So don't miss that.
With
because they are.
Tom?
Yeah, we started doing them like a year and a bit ago, and we only do them like kind of sporadically when we're both free, but they are the loveliest streams where chat choose the adventure via polls, and it's really, really, really fun.
He has a
So
good
see them.
voice for that.
Yeah, he does. He
Yeah.
absolutely does. Yeah, it's really, and then so he reads the narrative, and I do like Foley and voice acting for the different characters.
Oh,
cute.
lovely.
it's really fun.
I love that.
And then we are the RP Geeks in general. Sorry, I keep forgetting.
Who's
that's
doing it?
us.
Who? I don't know.
Is it?
cool,
But yes,
it's fine.
thank you. We're going to be here most Tuesdays. Every Tuesday we've got a game stream next week, and obviously the finale of Blades in the Dark the week after. We've got some other bits and pieces. Probably will announce it closer to the time as well. But yeah, we've also going to hand it over to people who might have it open. Our patrons, I believe we've got another patron.
I get
this
it
week.
open.
it open.
So we always put a couple of people in our worlds from our Patreon. And today we're gonna start with someone who joined this week. And because they joined only 2 days ago, congratulations, you just automatically get put in the world. We're not guaranteeing that in case loads of you do it, but if only like one of you does per week, you're going to go in. And that is Dwayne. Hi, Dwayne. Dwayne. We're going to assume it's Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
It is Dwayne.
So we're going to assume it's
That's
The Rock.
exactly it.
Yeah. He's a big Blaze in the Dark fan. So how do we want to incorporate Dwayne into the world? Because we did just see a room full of 200 people, is all I will say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Dwayne wearing rollers and a house coat?
Maybe.
Got some really cool hair. Like, he loves a blowout, and I think that
Pinstripe suit.
pinstripe
perhaps, I don't know.
suit, yeah.
Or Dwayne is working behind the counter in one of the kebab houses that wear scouts
yeah.
out.
Yes. I like that.
I was
There you
thinking
go.
maybe cake decorating because I got a really nice cake. This
That's
episode.
so true.
Like,
Cute.
a little bit
that.
of
Dwayne's
a
a
bit of
cake
white, a little bit of pink.
decorator.
I didn't like describe it perfectly, but it is beautiful. Like it was a very nice, like very upmarket cake. Like,
Ooh, I
really
love
Yeah,
that.
for once we could
Yeah.
give someone a nice role in this world.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
good.
We've got another one to
Skills
do,
from
so
Dwayne.
don't worry. Who's throwing things around?
That was me. I dropped a dice.
Is it a 6 though? That's the question.
Yeah, what'd you get?
Scandalous.
It's a 1.
Oh no, that's bad.
That's all right.
Consequence
That's-
is you need to roll me a d12, please.
I can do that.
I'll work it out from here.
That
3.
That one won't come out next time.
1, 2, 3. It's Caitlin Criv. Caitlin.
Hey, they're in chat. Hey.
They had to head off actually,
was
but they
in
were.
chat, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Okay.
But they'll come back and find out
I'll
that they're in the
come back and
world.
rewatch it.
Oh, that's cute.
Caitlin.
I was wondering if Caitlin could be someone else who goes through the fabric bins looking for nice outfits.
Yes.
And it's like just been having a great time recently, and it's just spending
this
all
new
day
fabric,
dancing
new
through the streets, just
styles.
looking amazing. If completely incongruous.
Maybe Caitlin, because like it's like reworking clothing, like in the meat space is it's all quite trendy and things now. Maybe Caitlin's got like a market
Upcycling.
stall where she makes like cool upcycled things with stuff that she finds in the fabric bin.
I love
cool.
that. And and then recently just
Perfect.
getting the coolest stuff, like
Nokia
heck?
stuck to a hat.
Yeah.
Like does this work?
Yeah.
plays a little tune when you press a certain button.
It's got a game. Snake.
Oh, Caitlin's watching on their break. Hello, Caitlin.
Hey.
Caitlin, you upcycle so many great
Yeah,
outfits.
really good. Really, really good.
We're all very impressed with your wares. We all want them.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
If you would like to be put into our world, you can join our Patreon, and we are at RP Geeks D&D on all things, not just Patreon, but that is how you find us. And we've got one more week, so there will only be 2 more people put into Duskvol, into the Blades in the Dark universe, for the RP Geeks. So that's very exciting. But oh my goodness, my brain is. Yeah, I'm not very well. We're at RP Geeks on all socials. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on Blue Sky. And you can find our YouTube at youtube.com/RP Geeks D&D, which is probably where you're watching this right now if you're watching to it. If you're listening on podcast, hi, we're in your ear holes. You can see our faces too if you like, but that's only if you feel like it. And please subscribe if you are watching. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps us out. We are like barreling towards 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I would love to get there by, let's say, June. That seems doable. At the rate we're going, it feels right. Yeah, drop a like on the video, put a little comment. The comments make me happy. When I read them. Sometimes they don't if they're mean, but they're not normally mean. So leave nice comments, happy comments.
Don't leave mean comments.
Don't leave
What are
mean
you
comments.
doing?
What's wrong with you for leaving mean comments?
What? Yeah, stop it.
And if you're watching the Bottom of the Clock Tower videos and you think you know a rule, Google it before, because the number of people, the number of people who say you got this rule wrong when I didn't. Sometimes I do, but so many comments that are just actively wrong, and I'm going to start calling them out in Blood on the Clock Tower streams. I'm going to say your username, I'm going to read your comment, and I'm going to explain why you're wrong.
You could also,
so
if you want,
just-
Emily, what you could do is you could reply to each one. I've heard that is a really good
I have
idea.
done that
Never
occasionally. I did. There was one we got, and they were wrong, but their comment wasn't like particularly mean about it. So I put a fairly nice reply, being like, "I think you'll find." No, sorry, it wasn't. I think you'll find. It was very much me being like, oh, I thought that the
Doesn't it-
phrasing was
doesn't it say
this, and
quote?
therefore it is exactly this. And it was basically me being like, you are wrong. And they were. Anyway. So yes, nice comments, please, to make Emma.
Nice.
Give a little thumbs
Nice
up on the
ones.
video.
Thumbs up on the
Yeah.
videos.
Do it now.
Do it
Do it
now.
right
Why aren't you
now.
doing it right now? Do it right now. And if you have already done it, do it again.
Do it again.
Undo
do
it
right
and then
now.
do it again.
Yeah, but make sure you do it. Yeah,
But
don't
yeah.
don't be like, oh, lol.
Anyway, so next week we will be here. That is the 22nd of April with a game stream. It's going to be fun. It'll be the RP Geeks. So me, Shamini, Fiona, and we're just going to be playing some silly games. Who knows what the silly games will be? It'll probably be Gartic Phone and GeoGuessr. But
We
there
know what the silly
might
games would
be other stuff. We might try and do something else. But look, let's assume it's that, and then we'll go from there. And I think that is everything. We will then be back on the 29th for the finale of Blood and Flog, A Blades in the Dark story, which I'm very excited about. And, talking of the Patreon, we're about to record a cheeky little behind the scenes, or behind the screens, as we call it, where we're just going to chat a little bit about what's gone on so far. And, so if you do want to listen into that, if you are subscribed at the $6 and above tier, that's a little extra that you'll get. So come join us over there. But also, if you can't afford it, it's okay, we forgive you, and we love you, and it's fine.
Yes. Yeah.
Just if you
Keep
really
safe out
want
there,
to.
friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can put this as a nice comment in on all the on all the YouTube videos.
This is
That's
nice.
absolutely fine. This is good.
nice.
Nice.
It's
Just write
by
nice.
definition,
Nice.
a nice comment.
Nice.
Or nice comment. Nice comment.
A
Nice comment.
Yeah.
comment, yeah.
Yeah, that's all fine. Okay, I'm waffling.
Yeah.
I'm waffling.
Yeah.
Someone wrap it up.
It's all good.
Thank you so
Alright.
much, all of you geeks out there, for joining us. We will see you here in the future. Have a wonderful week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.